if he was barefoot. Is that still the case? Is he barefoot? Because I know on Facebook somebody posted a picture of these could be his shoes, or is that so he is presumed to be barefoot at this point?
What I can say is that his mom says all of his shoes are accounted for at the house. I'm not going to say that he's barefoot.
All right.
Allegedly!
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative. Here's a brief disclaimer for tonight's show. Let's watch.
That's ignorant! Allegedly, that's ignorant! Ignorant!
Judgment, Aslı.
Chloe, you read my thoughts. You've got the shinning.
You mean shining?
Shh, you wanna get sued?
Judgment, Aslı.
You just use that shin of yours to call me and I'll come a running. But don't be reading my mind between 4 and 5. That's Willie's time.
Hey, yo, boss. I love him when he does that.
Let's watch.
Don't get me back to good bullshit.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Lady Freedom here coming at you with another raw narrative, and it's so good to see all of you guys. Hey little Miss Sharon, good to see you. Thank you for being here. I also saw Panda Bear's mom. Panda Bear's mom, thank you so much for keeping Devlin out there. I always see him in the chats when you are. If you have like an updated flyer, please send it to my email and I'll be sure to share it out because he's been missing for quite some time. So thank you so much for being here. GA64, good evening to you. Thank you for being here. It's good to see you guys. I had to start this live right before Hey GA64, sorry, right after Jay's. But I was over at Jay's live, guys, and I shared it. Really good live stream tonight. Chuchi, good to see you. If you guys did not see the call that was recorded And again, Bobby the neighbor didn't know that she was being recorded. I just want to put that out there. But she was recorded. And so a couple of people have been sharing it out. It happened 8/28/24, I believe, sometime around that time period. Yeah, Mimi Ma, it's just so sad. I mean, where is Katie, right? Where's Katie? And why isn't she, thanks for being here, Mimi Ma. You know, why isn't she out there looking, right? And then we hear about Katie making only a stop at the Strike and Spare. We talked a little bit about that earlier today. Hey, Blessed, good to see you and see Taylor. And, you know, we kind of took a gander at the Strike and Spare, and kind of, it's like a family fun zone, right? But then it also has a bar and grill in there as well. And I did hear that before. I just never really looked at it too far. Hey, WV Holla Girl, good to see you. And Cinderella, hello again. Oh, Town Chat, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Credit, either they were paying you or you both have known CP for a long time, both in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm going with it too, Chi-Chi, because it's like, it's unbelievable that they were only there for 20 minutes. We're just finding that out. That was never told to us. So I know it might be a little bit repetitive, but I do want to show a couple of different instances where Katie told us the story. She started telling us the story and adding in the niece and adding more places in the Chronicles of Olivia interview. Before that, we didn't know anything really about any of that, right? It was kind of not spoken of until then, right? Hey, Poppy Love, good to see you. So I think, hey, Coffee, Crime, and Cats, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Welcome in, everyone. I wanted to show that again, you know, and go over this, because this message from At Night is stating that Sebastian wasn't in the best spirits, right? Hey, Gigi, good to see you. Thank you for being here, Salty Gigi. And so I want to go ahead and show you guys the post really quick here, just to get right into it. And BMW Coupe. So thank you so much to BMW Coupe. Okay, you guys can see it. So At Night puts this out, says, to promote utmost transparency, At Night will release key footage from the bowling alley visit involving Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers and his mother, Katie Proudfoot. This evidence will illustrate why a brief 10-minute stop at the facility hardly justifies the mischaracterized depiction in their press release, which falsely claimed the pair enjoyed the evening. Sebastian appeared visibly startled, standing timidly behind his mother throughout this 10-minute interaction. According to this, the duo did not bowl at all. They merely approached the front desk before promptly leaving. So maybe they were waiting in line and then they realized that the leagues were playing, but we couldn't find any evidence that leagues were in fact bowling in February. We found evidence of a winter league. We found evidence of a summer league, mostly held during the week and not on a Sunday. And we went over that earlier in the live today, so definitely go check that out. I guess it's kind of a part one to this, but I wanted to deep dive more into it. And of course, here's the pictures of Sebastian. You know, all of them from when he, you know, the most recent pictures of Sebastian, I should just say that. But a couple of things in here. The evidence will illustrate a 10-minute stop at the facility, right? And then that the duo did not bowl at all. They merely approached the desk before promptly leaving. So I wonder what time that was. That's the first question I have. I don't know if you guys were thinking of some other things too. So hey, Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom, good to see you. I'm Dave. Yes. Bobby the neighbor, is that neighbor neighborhood gossiper, in my opinion, right? Yes, Miss Gladys Kravitz. Yes. Well, and hey, Kiki. And well, and she was the only one to really come forward, which I find to be par for the course now, but I would have found it to be really odd, and I always did think it was quite odd that no one else kind of came forward, right? Then again, we just heard Bobby say that she was threatened, and she has it all on a dash cam, and how she was threatened by Chris Proudfoot. So, I mean, I can see if others could hear that, or if they witness that, looking out their window again, peeking out their window, they might think, well, I really don't want to deal with that person, right? I'm going to steer clear of that person. I think it would be smart to, anyway. I wouldn't recommend approaching Chris Proudfoot. I kind of treat him like, a rabid dog or something like that. So that's the way I would approach him. Just because I'm like, I don't, he's very unpredictable, in my opinion. But let me go ahead and take this. Oh, I guess I gotta exit the full screen for now. So, this is gonna be kind of a little bit of a compilation on what happened Sunday, February 25th, 2024. Tell us what happened the morning of February 26th, 2024. And we're just going to start from Chronicles of Olivia, if I can get it on the right spot. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second here. You might have to just play that. Okay, sorry. I just need to pull it in one more little bit. Because I just want to get it to kind of where Katie is telling the story to Olivia, right? Because that's really where we leave off here. Okay, so give me 1 second here. I apologize. All right.
So,
Sunday, the day before he went missing, we got up and, fun fact, I made breakfast that morning. We had a good time. We were laughing, we were joking. He talked to family on the phone during breakfast to brag. We went and picked up our niece.
Yes,
Yeah, I got a call, and
Okay, guys. So right there, I just want to pop in. I'm gonna try not to pop in a bunch of times, but I do want to just say, and I know I just started, but I do want to just point out that Katie, it does look over at Chris, and she's looking to him, but he wasn't there, right? He supposedly wasn't there. And that's why I think a lot of people look at that behavior and think to themselves, well, if you weren't there, Chris, then why are you answering for Katie? Or why would Katie look to you for validation if you weren't there, right? So I just kind of want to throw that out there. And Poppy Love, thank you so much for your kind words. That is so sweet of you. Chuchi says, in my opinion, the whole neighborhood feels threatened and they don't want confrontation. That is why a lot of back and forth, changing stories, and now to fit CP's stories, in my opinion. I agree with that. And I think that's going to be demonstrated just with their words, what they're saying. So, you know, up until this point with Chronicles of Olivia, they have done multiple long live streams, right? And then also trolling in the chats. And so, and then Chris was telling people to hit him up on Facebook, and they were in Facebook groups and all kinds of different things, right? And so, with that being said, I just kind of want to put it out there that they have never mentioned up until this point all of these details that we're about to hear, like Katie driving up to school, all of this stuff. So I know it's a little bit repetitive, but I do want to play it just the same because the fact that they only spent 10 minutes there when this whole time we thought that we had an established timeline, I don't know. It's beyond frustrating because now we have to take a big eraser and hope we wrote in pencil because now that's all, it's rubbish, right? It's all a bunch of crap. So here we are thinking that we kind of knew, all right, this was the day, right? And we're going to hear it from Katie. She is the reason. And Chris is the reason because he doesn't let her talk. He's always talking for her. She's got to validate through him, right? Looks very scripted. But here it is, folks. This is what they've told us. And now there's footage to the contrary. Now, we haven't seen the footage yet. I'm just trusting that there is this footage since they're bringing that out. But again, I just kind of wanted to point that out. So thank you for being here, Dr. Pepper Princess. Thank you.
Asked if I could go and pick her up, and I did. And so we went and did that, and we went to BJ's. Had a good time there. He ate a colossal popcorn. Came home to put groceries away because we bought snacks because, you know, he's 15 and snacks.
Okay, guys. So I'm not going to try to pop in every 2 seconds, but again, this is where Katie is saying that they came back from BJ's, right? Just her and Sebastian, and that they're putting the groceries away, right? Because snacks and 15 and snacks and all this friggin' bullshit. All right. So I just want to point that out. This is where Katie is telling us the timeline. Okay.
We went to the bowling alley, and then from there we went to dinner. Came home.
Did you guys just see Chris's eyeballs? Right? We went to the bowling alley, and he like goes like this, and he looks up and around, and then shakes his head. Right? Very scripted. And looking back on this, and her saying we went to the bowling alley, snacks, I know. We can't just play popcorn like a normal person, right? Or you can't just say popcorn like a normal person. I agree, perfectly imperfect boy mom. Oh, it's so ridiculous, right? But I mean, right here, and this is really hard to kind of go back on. So let me just make sure I'm in the right spot. Just go back really briefly. Whoop. Oh, see what happens?
We went and picked up our niece. Yeah, I got a call.
Right? She goes, our niece, looks over at him. Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Esther. Oh, that's right. And look at his face. Look at his face. What a weirdo.
Asked if I could go and pick her up, and I did. And so
she was asked if they would pick her up, and so she did pick, you know, they asked if I would pick her up, and I did, right? Katie's driving.
We went and did that, and we went to BJ's.
We went and did that. We went to BJ's.
Had a good time there. He ate a colossal popcorn.
Makes you want to see the footage from BJ's, in my opinion.
Came home to put groceries away because we bought snacks because, you know, he's 15 and snacks. We went to the bowling alley, And then from there, we went to dinner.
They went to the bowling alley, and from there they went to dinner. And look at Chris's face right there. Right there. Look at his eyes, just went back and forth.
Came home. He took out the trash because that's his chore. He takes the can to the end of the driveway.
Right, but we all know that was added in too. They have never mentioned this before.
About 9 o'clock, told him to go to bed. He's come out of his room where he was playing, and he said, "All right, good night, Mama. Good night, puppies. Love you." And went to bed. He was doing something in his room because about an hour later I heard some noise, and I was like, "I don't care what you're doing in there, but go
Here we go with the noise.
to sleep." And
All right, the noise, right, is also a new detail, right? She did tell this to Smiley, right? She did tell this to a neighbor, but now she's saying, "I don't care what you're doing in there, you need to go to sleep," right? She's adding these new details in, and she's done this, and now we're hearing a thud, and then it was a thunk, and then it was a bang, and we're like, oh my goodness, right? Poor Sebastian.
about midnight, I got up and I went to bed. And 6 o'clock, I went to wake him up for school Monday morning, and that's when he went in here.
You see that? You see that with Chris? He wasn't here, and then he looks over to see if Olivia is buying his crap or Katie's crap.
To censor myself, holy freaking crap, this can't be happening. Where is my kid? Choice words were used. Where the F is he? I had looked through the house for him because it was typical for him to get up and come and rummage for snacks and things like that. And he likes to dip behind the, walls and watch, and then he comes out after I come back and he likes to scare me. But after I looked, and I mean, mind you, all of this took place in like 1 minute flat, but I didn't see him in his room. I looked all over. I ran through the whole house. I looked out all the doors and windows, and I was like hollering his name. And I picked up the phone and I called my husband and I said, I can't find him. And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "He's not in this effing house. I can't find our son." And I jumped in my car and I drove around the neighborhood and I drove over by the school, and he's already
what, Katie?
At this point I was like hysterical and I was crying, I was screaming, and he three-wayed law enforcement and was telling them like, our son is missing and we don't know what's going on. And he was like, "Go back to the house, they're on their way." And I drove back to the house, and 20 days later we found him.
Yeah. Sunday morning, I'll just start at the morning. Sunday morning, we got up and I made a fun breakfast for us. Spaghetti pancakes. Google it, y'all. We FaceTime family while we were eating so he could brag, because that's something he likes to do. And we were laughing and joking on FaceTime and having a good time with that. After breakfast, we got a call to go pick up
Why can she never remember her niece's name? That is so weird to me. Like, they've been, Chris and Katie have been together for a long time. For you not to remember your own niece's name, that is weird to me. Like, don't you write it on Christmas tags at Christmas? And like, when there's a birthday party, there's a little party bag for her. You write her name on it. You don't know your niece's name? Like, that's weird.
our niece.
Sorry.
And go take her to meet up. So we did that. We went and picked her up, and we met her mom at BJ's. And
so she went to go pick up Esther, right? And from a different location, which we found out later was the friend's house, right? And then they met her mom, who was already at BJ's, Chris's sister at BJ's, right?
we were there with family members.
And she doesn't tell who she was there with. She just says, I was there with family members. We were there with family members, right? But listen closely, because here comes the bowling alley.
We come home and put our groceries away. And then a little bit later, we went to the bowling alley, a local bowling alley here, and we played games. And this is just Bubba and I, and we went.
You guys hear that? And this is just Bubba and I. This is just Bubba and I. Right? So let me just back it up just a little bit. Hopefully I don't do too much.
A fun breakfast for us. Spaghetti pancakes. Google it, y'all. We FaceTime family while we were eating so he could brag, because that's something he likes to do. And we were laughing and joking on FaceTime and having a good time with that.
Hey, Rhonda.
After breakfast, we got a call to go pick up our niece and take her to meet up. So we did that. We went and picked her up, and we met her mom at
Carla, I have a lot too. And then, I married someone who's Irish. So yeah, they had a big family with a lot of kids. But I remember all my nieces and nephews, I knew all their names. But Katie, it just seems scripted. Like, that's what I think of. Because I think she remembers their names, because there's not very many of them. But, and it's not like she has to really worry a lot about her side of the family. Because in my opinion, or from what we've kind of come to realize, that she doesn't really talk to her side of the family. So, I mean, yeah, that's just always been weird to me. But I get what you're saying. If there's a lot of kids, it is tough. And there was twins also for us too. So, and they weren't completely identical, but they might as well have been, because I couldn't tell them apart some of the time.
BJ's, and we were there with family members. We come home and put our groceries away. And then a little bit later, we went to the bowling alley, a local bowling alley here, and we played games. And this is just Bubba and I, and we went to dinner, just the two.
Right, guys? So they went to the bowling alley, just Bubba and I. That's it. She tells us that they did not have any family at the bowling alley. It was just Bubba and I, right? And she also makes it really clear that it's also them at the dinner too. Just Bubba and I. And sorry, I know I keep chiming in, but I just kind of want to keep reiterating Katie's timeline. And she also says that they played games, right? But how could you play games that quickly? It's a big place, and we'll take a look at it again. But I just kind of want to reiterate also, in the post from at night, they're saying that the duo did not bowl at all, and they merely approached the desk before promptly leaving. So it doesn't mention anything about playing any games. And a lot of us are familiar with these type of places. Usually they'll give you like a card, and your tokens will be on there. But like old school, you would actually get like tokens, and you would put them in into the machine. And so I just kind of wanted to reiterate that Katie said that they went and played games, but obviously they didn't.
BJ's, and we were there with family members. We come home and put our groceries away. And then a little bit later, we went to the bowling alley, a local bowling alley here, and we played games. And this is just Bubba and I, and we went to dinner, just the two of us, and then come home. He took the trash out because that's his chore. And he come in and he was playing in his room until bedtime. And at bedtime, I told him, I said, "Hey, Bubba, it's time to go to bed." And he goes, "Okay. Good night, Mama. I love you." And then he said goodnight to his puppies. And he went to bed.
Okay. And walk me through what happened. You said that you were on a phone call, you were on the couch, and then you went to bed at midnight. Walk me through exactly what transpired during that time before you went to bed at midnight for you.
So, well, my husband, he works out of town a lot. So, we normally sit and talk every evening, and I normally fall asleep on him. And he'll tell me, wake up, you got to go to bed. And and that was right around midnight. So I got up and I put the puppies up and I went to bed myself at midnight. And I went to sleep, obviously. And then at 6 a.m., I went to wake him up for school, and that's when I couldn't find him. And sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Take your time.
And no, I was not home when all of this took place. I actually got back to Nashville. I believe it was later in the afternoon, but I was on the phone with the police for the majority of that day until I physically got here.
Beth said that
Great
when he
point,
came,
Puppy Love.
everything was in pristine condition except for his room. Like, I know that the LE was there, and he said that the LE was there. Well, I mean, what did he mean by that? Was that just like the bed was unmade, or, where you looked under things, or was it like, what did he mean by that?
Sebastian's room is always a little bit messy, but even more so with all the people coming in, all the law enforcement coming in and looking through things, me looking through things, like everybody was searching everything.
So I have a question then real quick. So
Yeah.
You're asking that question, is that because there's somebody's trying to insinuate that we tried to cover something up because the house was clean? Or
No.
please understand why I'm asking that question, because whether my house is dirty or clean really doesn't matter. But okay, I'm just trying to understand this.
Okay, well, I'll explain it to you. It's
Okay.
because I have a son that is autistic. He's 28 now. I know it's all different types of children on the autism spectrum, but they like stuff in order. It's not like you have to get paranoid that I ask you that. It's just I was asking that because I was thinking back on things, not only personally, but because I was just trying to make sense. When I ask questions, I just listen. Let me just tell you this. When I ask questions, you don't have to necessarily look. I'm not the police, okay? And you don't have to worry about how I ask questions. There's
Right.
that.
So me asking that question back is because you've got a lot of viewers. I'm not saying your viewers. So let's make that super clear so that viewers don't get that construed with anything. But there's so many people out there with their insinuations, and because you asked that question, it would not surprise me to see a comment. Well, that's because they cleaned the house before the cops got there. Trust me, we have seen it all, heard it all. People are putting stuff out there that is completely obtuse from the truth, and it is ridiculous. That's why I asked that question.
Well, I tell you
That
this.
is with someone. Okay.
We didn't find any signs of the windows, but and without disclosing the details of my door locks, I will say that
understand.
Sebastian regularly and consistently went out and locked the door behind himself.
Okay.
Yeah, not a padlock. He locks the door behind himself every time he goes out it. The only people that would have access to my house have all been interviewed.
And not only that, but if somebody had been by the front door, punched in the code, believe it or not, no, it's not super clear, but you would have seen a shadow or a figure based on, something would have been visible because,
And guys, just to, reiterate, we even watched like the cat shadow. We could see the shadow from the cat, even in the video, even though it was really dark and grainy, we could still see like a shadow of an animal, in my opinion. So I just kind of want to play this part too, just to show that they were saying that Sebastian would have walked out the front door had he gone out the door, but there's a light on, and I think that it would be, even with it being dark, but then having that full moon, I think you would still have enough visibility from the Ring camera across the street to see Sebastian leaving through the front door, but they say that's the door that he mostly uses. And then also that if he did go out of the door, that's the only one that would lock from, the outside without a key. So I just want to point that out. Poppy Love says, is all she goes into even important? I wouldn't want to talk about all of the details of the day. I'd rather be using the time with people, hearing more about Sebastian pleading for help, finding him. I agree. I think they were just cleaning the timeline up, though, as information was coming out. Poppy Love, I do believe that because, as more and more was gathered by law enforcement, and then think about, they were actually given access to a lot of that information because they're being treated like they're just grieving parents, right? Their son ran away. So with Sebastian being treated like a runaway to begin with, in my opinion, it threw off the entire investigation, because when they were just only operating under the assumption that Sebastian walked off, if in fact they only were, which it seems like they were, that could have been, again, we talked about this earlier, it could have been a lie. He could have, Craddock could just be telling us that in order to throw off the true people of interest, right? Persons of interest. But if he was solely operating under the assumption that Sebastian walked off, then he probably wasn't gathering the pertinent information for what we're dealing with now, and that's Sebastian's still missing. Even when the Hatfield and McCoys did their video, they were like, there's no way, because they were searching around Sebastian's home just recently, and there's no way that he would have made it far without any shoes on, right? And we've talked a lot about that here. It's just, doesn't, especially for a kid that doesn't wear shoes, right? Or excuse me, that always wears shoes. You're going to be more tender-footed, right, than the kids that run barefoot. That's just the way it is, in my opinion, because you'll develop calluses and stuff. Chi-Chi says, in my opinion, I would like to know how often do they go out and do things, mom and son? I know a lot of people have been asking that question, Chi-Chi. That's a great question. I think someone did ask Chris that, which, or maybe she was asked, but he answered, right? Which we see that a lot with those two. And, he said that they do usually do a lot of things on the weekends, like running around, which I can see that, because that's when you kind of have more time to go grocery shopping and things like that. I remember, when I was younger, I would, and had my little family and stuff like that, I would save those activities for the weekend sometimes, especially if it was busy during the week. Now, Sebastian didn't have the extracurricular activities like a lot of kids have, right? Like my daughter played club soccer. She played an instrument in the band. She was involved in a lot of stuff, and we didn't see that with Sebastian. Hey, Napa Noach father, good to see you. Says hello everybody. A long time, or it's been a long time, but still haven't forgot about Sebastian. Aw, thank you. How are you, Lady Freedom? Hope everything is all right in this crazy world. Yes, it is, Napa Noach father. I hope so for you too and your family. Thank you. I'm glad to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Phoenix. In my opinion, I bet no, that often I feel she's been detached from him even when her and Seth were together, in my opinion. Yeah, Chi-Chi, I feel that too. I definitely think that there was a major disconnect with Sebastian and Katie, and it could have been when she was away, when Sebastian was little. I agree with that. I think he probably did bond more with Seth, right? Just as, it kind of comes with it, right? Whoever's there, the child's going to have more memories, more time with, more bonding. But I think that according to Seth, she wasn't always really this disconnected, and that it seems that she became more disconnected. I honestly believe it was probably the ultimatum she was getting from Chris, the CPS reports, the negativity from the family, right? The Foot Clan. And he came second to all of that, in my opinion, It is bullcrap. It also comes out that they didn't get groceries, that they got socks and a couple of items at BJ's. Yeah, so it's not like she, again, Carla, I heard that as well. That it was that she didn't get all the snacks that she said she did, right? And that they didn't have a bunch of groceries to put up. I've heard that too. GA64 says KP just states all this information without emotions, no tears. If my child was missing, I would be crying, running, nose running. I would be very emotional. I agree with that, GA64. I'm like that too. I know that I would be beside myself. I wouldn't know what to do. They wouldn't be able to stop me from searching, right? Maybe at first. I might have cooperated with law enforcement on that in the first couple of days, right? Like, okay, I'm going to trust them, and then especially if I had Seth out there, right? Because that's his dad. If my daughter's father was out there, that would make me feel a little bit more safe and comfortable to stick back at the house. And you best believe I would make my husband, boyfriend, whoever, search for my child. Like if he was sitting on his fat butt like he does, I would be telling him to get off of it and go find your son. Really, I would. I'd be like, but see, that would be me giving an ultimatum, because I just don't play that, right? Because if you want to give me some sort of a crazy ultimatum, you or my kid, it's going to be my kid all day long. Sorry, Buster. You better think again. I mean, I think I made that pretty clear. I mean, from the jump. But see, Katie was always compromising with this jerk. Oh, really? You don't like my cats? Well, I'll just get rid of my cats. Right? All the way down to her son, in my opinion. That's how bad it is. I mean, that's what we're looking at, it seems like. How could anyone... Carla, you made me spit. How can anyone fall asleep with a CP on the phone? His loud mouth. I know, right? Well, and she was doing all this stuff. She was studying, she was sleeping, she was talking to Chris, she was this, all of it was such a silly story. It's like, hola, punch in the face. Coffee, Crime, and Cat says, and now we don't get any details. I know. Well, because they say everybody bashes them, but it's because they're lying, and we know they are. See people, you are home, too much details in my opinion. Yeah, Chuchi, and she keeps looking to him for validation. So either they got their story straight and that's why, or he's just they rehearsed it seems rehearsed, in my opinion. I'll just say it seems rehearsed. I would have nightmares. Chuchi. Why does he even care? Coffee, Crime, and Cats. They're very paranoid. Yeah, obtuse even. See, Taylor. It's like, project much? Coffee, Crime, and Cats says, no one cares about your stupid locks. It's just unimportant. Right. Well, they made it seem like it was like this huge safety concern. I've also, guys, I was thinking about this too. I cannot recall off the top of my head, and now doesn't mean this is impossible, right, scenario, but I've never watched the mother and the stepfather of a missing child be like, well, we can't share that information with you. That's just for me, us and law enforcement. I've never heard that. Now, I'm sure there's things that they keep close like that, but the frequency that we hear it in this case is like off the charts. And then, Nancy Grace busted his ass out about the van. He was like, oh, we can't give that information. We're not pervy. I'm like, nobody said you were, creep. We're saying, what about the, what about the van? What about the van? And nobody said, and then Nancy says, well, did you give them permission, or excuse me, did they give you any kind of permission? And he's like, well, we didn't get any permission from her work. So she's like, well, what's the big deal? Why can't you tell us? And so even if you ask them follow-up questions, hey, Linda Hall, if you ask them follow-up questions, then they will definitely produce more answers than just taking Chris's word for it or cowering down to him. You know what I mean? Hey, Joe Neal. Detroit Rock City says they found little boy's body, Liam King. Oh, thank you, Detroit. Yes, they did. Now there's another missing little girl in Tennessee. This is horrible. It's like an epidemic, like the rapture of the innocent. Oh my gosh, I know. Detroit, and you know, little Liam, I haven't done a whole lot of research on him. I believe he was he was autistic nonverbal, and it's my understanding that he must have like went to the water, right? Kind of like what we were talking about, the 71% of kids that are on the spectrum do that. And so, yeah, that's really, really sad. Thank you for sharing that. I think I was at Bullhorn Betty's today and saw that. But you know, I mean, that's the thing I think that's very frustrating with this case. Now, Liam was a little younger than Sebastian, I think a few years younger than him. But again, it's like if Sebastian would have just wandered off, we find those kids all the time, right? We find them in the ponds. We find them, you know, over exhausted and hopefully still alive, right? There was a couple that they were talking about in the beginning of Sebastian's case, right? Saying that the children just kind of kept walking and walking and walking and didn't realize, you know, how far they had walked. And when I thought about that concept, and when I thought about, okay, well, maybe Chris and Katie are, and at this point, I didn't realize, you know, how bad they were. But I'm like, if they're telling, you know, if it's a mother telling her son's tendencies, then maybe he did decide to like take off to his dad's house and then he got lost, right? But then he just kept going because he figured I can get to my dad, right? So, I mean, in the very beginning, I thought that too. Yeah, Carla says, I've been in the case since the first week, I think day 2, and I said prophets are guilty. Easy to see. Yeah. When I looked into it, I was the same way. Yeah, and that was before I had heard Duchess interview, because I didn't think that I thought that was the second interview. Just because I heard it in that order, doesn't mean that was the way it was. So Cash could do it. Cash alone can fix it. He can. Law enforcement cannot tell you what to do. No legal advice. No, they can't. Sometimes I think they will, though. It's kind of like what we saw with Gabby Petito. Whenever I had them here about the stalker issue, they're like, when they came back after they ran my name and everything, and then they were like, you need to get that person for defamation and call a lawyer. But they didn't give me legal advice. They just told me to call a lawyer. So I think they do like sometimes put their own 2 cents in. But I agree with you, Carla. They're not going to tell you like, this is what you have to do, right? Like, you need to go do this, or don't they can't tell you not to talk, right? Because we have freedom of speech. They can maybe say, you know, in our experience, it's not worked out pleasantly for parents who do this or that. But in the news release, they were saying, you know, that the Proud Feet didn't want to talk to the media. They're not ready. They're too emotional, you know. The hand of God guides him. I'm hoping so, Joe. Pervy, LOL. CP's favorite word. CP's pervy is your friend, Mr. Snuggles, aka critic, in my opinion. Yeah, and he uses that word still to this day and doesn't realize. I don't know how he can listen to all of us and not ever realize that that's mispronouncing. Well, it's misusing a word. Oh, they did find Samantha alive couponing. Oh, good. See, they find them fast, guys. That's what kills me about Sebastian's case, because these kids, they usually find, you know, quickly. And maybe not the best way that we wanted to find them, but then they're found. Carla says it seems like 95% of autistic children are unalived by their parents. Yeah, it's weird though, because all the parents that I've ever dealt with, like all of them love their kids a lot, and they were always worried about what was going to happen to their kids when they passed away. Always. That was the biggest fear that I heard from parents. And I didn't, even like realize the ramifications of it because I wasn't a mom myself, right? But I realized that, because some people on the spectrum need more care than others, right? So it's a really scary thought. Who's going to take care of, my baby? Like, because we all know it doesn't matter how old our children get, they're our babies. And it says, what is it with all of these children missing? They have autism. I'd like to know there is some kind of connection. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is. I really don't. I'm not sure what it is at all. Panda Bear's mom says Devlin Lee Hatfield Tate, no trace, no sighting, phone pinged at a trailer park, footage caught at Carl's supermarket. Okay. Is he from Minnesota, Panda Bear's mom? Thanks, Linda Nunley, for the green hearts. Cash will solve all these cases. I sure hope so, Joe. Yeah, I'd like to dig into those, but I just don't want him taken off my channel because I know, like, it's kind of taboo to talk about the Epstein stuff. I think they all need to be exposed. I want to know who all the creeps are. Hey, Gabby Mist, good to see you. He was abused by his mother at 3 months old. He had broken legs, ribs, and a skull fracture. She did time in jail and got him back when she got out. I didn't read the rest, but it's terrible. Oh my gosh. Wow, Detroit. I can't believe these people. I really can't. They did not even want their names put on media. My God, your child is missing, but let's keep it a secret. Right, but he's not afraid to come out and act like this. Not afraid at all. It's so weird, right? Because I think he thinks that law enforcement doesn't look at the internet. Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping they release them. I hope they release all of it so we can see in detail. Odessa, Michigan for Devlin, guys. Thank you. I knew it was somewhere up there, Panda Bear's mom. I'm all the way down south now. GA64 says, I believe CP got an email from Carter, said that they do not tell people what to say or not to say. Do you remember that, Lady Freedom? So I do remember it. I think it was actually an email from a citizen that was talking with Carter and said, hey, something to the effect that we don't tell people, telling the citizen, we don't tell people what to say or do. Something to that effect, and like we don't give legal advice type of thing too. I do remember that though. Yes. I know couponing's totally sad. Elisa P, I hope Cash does because I DM'd him, but he never got back to me. It was the weirdest thing. Yeah, we need it on national news. They're as swampy as anyone, Joe. Hey, Pink Warrior, good to see you. Chi says, good night, everyone. I have to get my son up for school and get him on the bus at 6 a.m. coming fast. Oh, I'm so glad you were here. Thank you so much, Chuchi, and I hope that he has a great day at school tomorrow. Yeah, all the little guys are in school, little gals. Hey, Lisa B. Always, thank you for hitting the like button. Adam Forever 21, so good to see you. Justin got an email from him that said they don't tell them what to do. Right, Carla, right. It was Justin. And, I mean, they're not in the position really, because if they say that to you, you could take it as like an order, and you could be like, oh no, I'm not, the police told me not to, right? So they generally won't do that, you know, because they're not really, I mean, that's not their job to kind of police us in that regard, right? Constitutionally, we have the right to say whatever we want, you know. Oh, clutch some pearls, I got you. Sorry, GA64. Oh my gosh, look at me. Elisa says he does it, Lady Freedoms. This case needs to be on Dateline and national TV news. Well, I mean, you know, I think, Elisa, if they would have had, if they would have showed the end of the lights video, everyone would have been up in arms on America's Most Wanted, side-eyeing Katie, but they took that part out, you know, which is really frustrating. It's so frustrating. Hey, Robini. It's terrible. It's just terrible, terrible, terrible. Yeah, I feel like he might know if we could do, like, that's why I wanted to do that letter writing campaign. I think a lot of people wrote to him, though. I will say that. Okay, Robini. Yeah, I'm going to play this next clip, too, so it's perfect timing for you, for the Bushes. The issue with this case, it's only known about online. Well, and I agree with that. I think they only are telling people what they want to tell people when it does go to a national story, right? It's so frustrating. If the national media was doing their job, they would be talking about all of this, but they're not, right? Because I'm sure they were threatened just like everybody else has been in this case, right? I mean, like, even a little tiny creator like me, they don't want me talking about it. You know, they're really worried. And they should be, because I have a big mouth. All right. So let's go on with this.
One of the lights is still visible from that Ring camera from across the street.
Okay, there was no windows unlocked or anything like that.
Yeah, with
Yes,
the screens intact and things like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nothing exterior of the building of our house has been altered.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's why it was like, oh, not only that, but for him to go out the window, so to speak, he would have landed in the flower bed and, you know, barefooted. Yeah, we'd have heard something because he had landed on it and screamed.
Yeah, yeah.
Miss Proudfoot, that evening, were you drinking?
No, ma'am.
Had you used any type of drug at all, even OTC, over the counter?
No, ma'am.
And you had no argument with Sebastian that night?
No, ma'am.
You stated you put the dogs away into a crate before you went to bed. Is the crate located near the exit, near a door?
No, ma'am.
Would the dogs have barked if there had been an intruder or if Sebastian had left?
The dogs don't typically bark at me and Sebastian because they're used to us. Even if we get up, we come around, they don't typically bark. Strangers, they do tend to bark, at least for a minute or two to get attention. But no, ma'am, they don't typically bark at Sebastian and myself or Christopher.
What kind of dogs are they?
Morkies.
Question: where is their crate located?
In the area near my sunroom.
Over by the
In
kitchen.
your son's. Okay, hold on. Is
No,
it
son,
outside
not
your
son.
son's room?
No, ma'am. Not
Sunroom.
Sebastian's room. Son. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
The sunroom, and that's not near the door?
No, ma'am.
Not near the front door.
It's near my back door, but not any of the other doors.
Yes, from what I've seen the layout of the home, it is near the back door, and they would have heard someone coming in and out that back door, correct?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
No barking. Do you have a chime or anything on your doors that would alert you to the door opening?
No, ma'am.
Other than you, Miss Proudfoot, who is the last person that saw or heard Sebastian alive the Sunday before he went missing?
2 of his aunts, a cousin, and the staff where we had dinner. So BJ's, and then we went to the bowling alley, and then after the bowling alley, we went to dinner before coming home.
So your Infinity SUV was parked in the garage or outside the garage that night, Miss Proudfoot?
In the garage.
In the garage. And Mr. Proudfoot, your vehicle was on location in Memphis. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So there's only one car at the home. Is that right?
There was actually a work vehicle in the driveway at the time.
You have a work van.
I am an installation technician.
That night, was the work van blocking your driveway? Could someone go in and out of your driveway?
The van is parked at the back of my driveway, so someone can pull in, yes.
Got it. Do you park your Infinity SUV in the garage or outside the garage?
In the garage.
In the garage. Do you have an automatic garage door?
With a clicker.
Right. Do you leave that up or down at night?
Down.
Could anybody lift it up? Like, is there an on and off button outside, or do you have to know a code or have the clicker to open it?
You'd have to know the code or have the clicker.
Does Sebastian know the code?
Not to the garage door, but to the man doors.
Not to the garage door, but to the house doors?
The regular door, yes.
So is there a code to get in your home, or do you use a regular key?
There's a code.
And he knows that code?
Yes, ma'am.
So your car's in the same place. You get in the car, you start looking in the neighborhood for him. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you call Mr. Proudfoot, right?
I believe I was already on the phone with him at that point.
Okay. That morning, you woke up at 6 o'clock. Is that the normal time you wake up?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a heavy sleeper?
Off and on.
Do you take any medication at night that would make you sleep?
No, ma'am.
But you heard nothing?
I did not, no.
So we know he is alive and well at 10 p.m. At 6 a.m. He's gone. You say he's never left before. Is that right?
Correct. He's never run off before.
And could I confirm, where was his bio dad at the time he went missing?
I believe he was at work in Nashville.
Had there been any family argument or altercation prior to him going missing?
No, ma'am.
I work for Davidson County Sheriff's Office.
And what is your job or your job title?
Deputy Sheriff, and I work in the Corrections Department.
And where were you the night that Sebastian disappeared?
At work.
And you said you were at a
correction center.
And so you were at a jail.
I was in jail.
So you were in jail. And I'm sure there's probably, with it being a jail, it's a very secured area.
Oh, yes. I am on camera arriving at 6 p.m. into the garage, which is a secure garage. You have to have badge access to get in or out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm leaving at like 7:30 the next morning.
Gotcha.
Exiting out of the garage.
Any video footage of Katie searching for Sebastian that morning? Like, do they have any, since you have a neighbor that has a Ring camera, did any cameras pick up Katie actually out there searching that morning before?
If she, oh, you mean before all the police got there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the neighbor that was leaving to go take her well, actually the neighbor's camera did pick up her walking around her house.
Really? So she walked around her house?
Yeah, because in the neighbor, if you're looking to her house, the neighbor to the left of them, that the wife came out and was actually looking there's like a little like a wood door underneath the house. What do you call that underneath the house? The crawl space. They actually opened up that door and were looking in the crawl space together. And so they were looking. But as far as outside of the neighborhood, I've never seen them. And they've never, no, not that I'm aware of. I mean, I asked my kids, and my kids said they had never seen her, never seen him.
Gotcha. Any idea when Seth got there?
No, but I do know that he was there by the time my kids went over there. Like I said, which was about 8:30. He was already there.
And
I
what
had a
did he?
missed call and a text message from Christopher Proudfoot telling me to 911. So I called him.
And what was that conversation like?
Don't be angry or mad. Sebastian's missing. What are you fucking talking about? My son is missing.
Did you find the statement, don't be angry or mad, odd?
Yes and no. I mean, my son's missing. You know, distraught would have been a better word. Confused on why he's gone. Mad and angry now. With what I know, yeah. Mad and angry fits now. But then again, what I know now is everything that Chris knew beforehand.
Did you get immediately concerned when you got that call that there was something seriously wrong? Did you just know immediately?
I left there and I was doing well above the speed limit trying to get to Katie's house to find out what's going on.
Looking back on that call you had with Chris, does anything now seem out of the ordinary or odd?
The lack of emotion, maybe?
Interesting. When you got there, what did Katie personally tell you happened? Did you guys talk when you got to the house?
When I got there, I assessed the situation before I walked in. There was law enforcement was everywhere, in and out the doors, so on and so forth. By the time I got there, the dog people were there and the drone people were there. I was the last one to this stupid fucked up party.
What was Kathy's demeanor like that morning? Did anybody in the house, when you saw them, appear nervous or out of place or odd, or just maybe they weren't doing anything, but there was just something in you that made you feel out of place or made you feel odd?
Katie seemed to be the only one that was upset, grieving, and maybe would be the word.
What was she doing? How was she acting? What emotions was she displaying?
Just sitting on the couch crying.
Have you seen
After
her?
the initial me coming in and her shoving her phone in my face and all that sort of stuff, then, you know.
Do you feel her behavior was genuine?
I'm not going to answer that.
Okay, fair enough. Did the neighbors speak to you?
Briefly, one of the neighbors spoke to me, lovely lady that lives next door. She introduced herself. I'm horrible with names, but most of the time, the people that came over, I was just sitting in a chair. People kind of looked at me, and then they would have their conversations with Chris and Katie and Kathy and whoever else was there. There was some introductions, but I'm not one of those people you just introduce. I was watching their behavior.
Did the neighbors say anything odd? Was their behavior odd, or were they just appeared to be concerned?
Some of them appeared to be concerned. Some of them brought their video footage over for Chris to look at. So Chris got to see all the video footage. I didn't get to see shit.
Hmm. Hmm. That's quite
Still in the dark.
that's quite interesting.
That's why when I told Chris I needed to speak to Katie, well, you can't do that unless I'm there.
You got a voice. Can I ask you why Chris is always speaking for you? I'm just wondering. Why is Chris always speaking for
Fire
you?
away, babe. Go ahead.
If you're not there, Chris, hold on. If you're not there, people want to know this. If you're not there, how can you answer all the questions?
So if you notice, there's certain questions that you're asking I'm not saying anything about. So as soon as you start talking about Sunday,
yeah. Okay. So
I don't say nothing. Saturday, I don't say nothing. But anything after that, from the 6th, from midnight to 6,
okay,
being on the phone with her prior to, yeah. I can answer those questions.
Does she want to come on?
No.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's absolutely fine.
Babe, if you want to answer, go for it.
No, I don't understand why it's a problem that my husband helps talk. I mean, I get that y'all want to hear my voice more, but honestly, half the time it's because I'm crying or honestly, I don't have words to explain what I am anymore.
Because it's like this, people, it's enough as it is. I'm not putting her through this. And I'm sure that right there is going to cause a big stir and say, well, I'm controlling. No, I'm not controlling. I'm a husband who protects his wife.
Well, you will only get polite questions here.
Let's go back to the Sebastian deal.
Okay.
Okay. Katie reported she heard a thud. And that's it.
But didn't she
knock her
ask?
off and go to bed?
I've seen different reports of she heard a thud. She said, I don't know what you're doing in there, but you need to go to bed. I've seen other reports that Sebastian responded back to her. If he did respond back to her, do you know what he said?
Yeah, he replied, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I mean,
no, we're clearing things up.
Right.
That's all this is. Let's just clear it up, you know?
That night, Miss Proudfoot, at midnight when you went to bed, what did you do until midnight?
I had been reading a chapter that I needed to, and I had been talking to my husband on the phone. I was falling asleep on him, so that's when he told me it was around midnight. He told me to go ahead and put the dogs up and go to bed, and that's what I did. I got up, put the dogs where they sleep, and then I myself went to bed.
Where do they sleep?
They have a big pen inside. A chapter for school. Yes, ma'am. I've since dropped my classes for the time.
What are you studying?
Business administration. DeVry.
So that night you go to bed at midnight after you've been talking to Mr. Proudfoot on the phone. You put the dogs away in a cage, a crate inside the home, and you go to bed. Did you check on Sebastian at that time?
I did not.
Okay. Do you normally?
Not typically. Since he's gotten older, I've not been checking on him as frequently throughout the night because normally he's good to go in his room once he goes to bed.
Earlier, you had stated you heard a noise in his room before you went to bed. What time was that?
Around 10 o'clock.
10 p.m. What did it sound like?
Just a thud.
A thud. You stated that you said, look, I don't care what you're doing in there. Go to bed. Is that right?
I was on the couch, which is near his room, and I said, Bubba, did you fall out of the bed? And he said, no, ma'am. And I said, well, whatever you're doing in there, knock it off and go to sleep.
So you heard his voice at 10 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any idea what the sound actually was?
I do not, no.
If he were to go out his window, what would he step on?
Mulch and bushes.
Did you say mulch or mush?
Mulch.
Mulch.
Mulch. Okay.
What type of noise do you think that was that you heard?
I'm not honestly sure. It sounded like he was messing with stuff in his room, which was not uncommon, which is why I said, hey, I don't know what you're doing in there, but you're supposed to go to sleep. No, and because I didn't have any reason to. You know, when he was little, I used to check on him all the time, but he's older now and he's 15, and y'all can figure out why a mother may not want to necessarily pop into a teenage boy's room unexpectedly.
There was a noise. Katie heard it. She responded. Sebastian answered.
Okay, and see, people out there, they want to help, and it feels like that you just are like, that pissed you off that we even asked that. You know,
What pisses me off is when the statement is out there. There was a thud. She asked him what, he responded back and moving on.
And around what time was that?
I'm not going to give you details as far as.
I mean, Katie gave details, but I just.
Well, guess what? That is Katie. I'm not giving you those kind of details.
No, she gave details publicly.
That is fine.
Okay.
Katie can give you that. I am not giving you that information. I will tell you this. It was between the time we were on the phone to the time we got off the phone. That's what I'll give you. That's it.
Or
he had a pocket of fluid on the right bilateral part of his brain. It's been there since he was born.
Mm-hmm.
You have to watch him, make sure he doesn't suffer any head injuries or anything like that. It was too big for them to put a
stent.
A stent. It was too. It was not big enough to put a stent in, but still big enough to actually cause damage if he had. That's why I didn't want him in football.
Right.
I didn't want him putting on a helmet and going, head first into something, because anything that might cause damage to his head is not something like I want my buddy to be safe.
When you heard Katie indicate that there was a potential thud coming from his room with the knowledge of his head injury, how does that make you feel?
If I had heard it in my house, I'd have been in my son's room to find out what was going on. If I hear any kind of strange noise coming out of his room, wherever room he happened to be in, any room, period, I'm going to go find out what that noise is, verify, see what's going on. The fact that she would say that there was that type of noise and not go check on him. To me, is not proper parenting.
She said, Katie, they had gotten home from Texas Roadhouse, took the trash out, so on and so forth. Sebastian was in his room. She was in the kitchen, I guess, getting, whatever done. And from her house, she's close enough to where she can see from the Ring camera, like the lights inside, because it's dark. So, I mean, if you have lights on, you can see it. And so she said that she could see the lights in the house around 10 or so. Then Katie told her that Sebastian was in her room. She was in the kitchen. She said, "You need to go to bed." And he said, "Okay." And she goes in the living room and does whatever, watches TV. She says she was studying. I don't know, whatever, doesn't matter. She was in the living room for whatever reason. And she told my neighbor that she fell asleep and
Say that again. You broke up. Say it again. You broke up.
This funk, and she yelled across the house and said, "Sebastian." And he said, "Yes, Mom." And she said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yes, I'm fine. I'm good. Go to bed." And she said, "Okay." So she gets up, and my neighbor said you can actually see his light go off, her walking across the house, her light go off, and then a silhouette come up to the window for a minute. And then everything just goes black.
What time was that again? Because you cut out.
I'm sorry. I know my son was calling me. Okay, so she woke up around 11:30 is what she told my neighbor, that she woke up about 11:30, and apparently he was still up. But I find it odd because it's 11 o'clock or 11:30 at night, and my kid has to be up at 6 the next morning. I'm going to be in their room yelling at them and taking their electronics away and telling them, go to bed now. That I would be walking in my kid's room. If I heard a thunk, I'm probably still going to go in their room and ask, like, what in the world was that? I wouldn't just stay. That's what she told my neighbor. And then she goes to bed.
11:30 though. That information is not really out there. We keep hearing 10 p.m. kind of deal. Put them to bed. Hear the thump. Are you okay? Good night. 10 p.m.
Right.
But this is what she told a neighbor.
That's right.
Why was the sheriff's office called and not 911?
So our house is not designated for city limits, which jurisdictions for police are inside city limits. The sheriff's department is what governs our area because we're outside of that. So if you call 911 and you're outside of those areas, it goes to a central point, but then they will turn around and ask your location and then they redirect you to another dispatcher. If you know who the dispatcher, who your law enforcement agency is that governs your area, I just call them straight. There's no point in wasting time going from one to another to get to what I need when I know exactly who to call.
And you guys were on a 3-way call because you
Yes.
were not, you were coming from out of town. Is that correct?
We were on a 3-way call.
Yeah, that law enforcement was called on a 3-way call.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, well,
Because
I'll give
I
you.
was
Yeah,
hysterical and screaming and crying and frantic.
I'll
Because
give
I
you.
was
Yeah, okay.
hysterical and screaming and crying and frantic. And so he told me to mute my phone, and he's the one that actually called because at that point I couldn't even make words anymore.
So not only that, but if folks know the area, when you call 911, you go to a central dispatching unit. You don't actually go to your local PD unit. You go to a hub on a cell phone. When you tell them where you're at, then they redirect you to the local PD. We don't live inside city limits, so the local PD they're not responding. It's not their jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to call the sheriff's office. So I called directly to the sheriff's office because I know what was going to happen. Bypass it, call them. And then within 10 minutes of that phone call, they were at the house. And when they were at the house, they were at the house in full force.
Was it a lot? Sir.
You've seen the aerial shot of the subdivision, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so from our house, go all the way back down to Stafford to that stop sign where Kellen and Stafford meet. Then line cop cars all the way down Kellen out to Long Hollow Road.
Yeah.
That's how many cops came.
Many people have asked me, why did Miss Proudfoot not call 911 immediately? And here's your chance to answer that.
Because by the time I realized my son was missing and I called my husband at that point, I was hysterical. I was at the point where I couldn't even form words anymore. And my husband is the one who remained calm enough to call them.
And to be honest with you, Miss
very-
Grace, the way we live outside of city limits, so you don't call 911 because you get routed to a dispatching hub who asks what's your location, and then they route you to another dispatcher to talk to give this story. I cut all of that out and I called straight to the sheriff's department because they have jurisdiction of where we live. So sorry that I decided to bypass a few steps and go straight to the source where they responded within 10 minutes of the phone call being made.
Who called 911?
I did.
You did.
Yes,
What
ma'am.
time?
Without looking at a call log, I can't give you the exact time, but on or about 6:20.
And had you guys been talking on the phone before 6 a.m. or did you initially call Mr. Proudfoot at the time you realized Sebastian was gone?
I called him when I realized Sebastian was gone.
That morning, You search the home, Miss Proudfoot. Then you get in your vehicle and you start searching. Did Sebastian know how to drive?
No, ma'am.
Now, I do see Miranda. Miranda has a child that is special needs as well, and we've covered a case on my channel involving her child in the school system here on my platform. So Miranda is a very strong advocate for kids that have special needs and them getting fair and equal treatment. And she says, how is his skills on walking around on heels or without a trail? Because my son would stumble if he had to step over a 1-inch rock or any form of incline. So, I mean, is he able to walk good? How is he able to navigate on his own? I mean, is he able to walk good? Can you hear me? Did I lose you guys? Can you hear me? Chris, are you there? Can you hear me? Trev, are you there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, maybe Chris lost signal. We'll give him a few minutes to come back. They may have had to mute out. Thank you, FarQ. I appreciate it. Chris, we're not able to hear you. They may have gotten cut out with their Wi-Fi service. So if you need to come back, please let us know. I'm going to go over here to the chat while we wait for Chris. They may have had a phone call or something to come in, so we'll give them a few minutes. No rush. Discovering the Truth said, when my son was nonverbal, he had a speech device that was supposedly blocked from the company, so he couldn't go to any websites, and somehow he bypassed it. They're smarter than you think. Wow, Discovering the Truth. That is incredible. And he is a high-functioning autistic young man. So they have and look, Chris dropped. He must have lost his signal, guys, but he'll probably come back. Oh, here he is. Here he is. Chris, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Okay, that's like a Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now? I figured you might have lost signal.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll figure it out. We get it back every once in a while.
Okay, yeah, I understand. I understand.
He's high functioning. I mean, he's fully able to hold a conversation, and he walks and he loves to run.
Okay, well, that's good. And Rhonda wants to know if he has a special button on his phone.
No.
On his phone?
I don't. Mm-mm.
Okay.
But he doesn't have his phone.
Yeah, and he left his phone at home, so he doesn't have it.
When it comes to the special button, no. Just so some parents are aware, even if you lock down your child's phone, some children can actually turn their phone into safe mode, which would bypass the parental locks and then allow a child to go on the internet. There is a way to block that. You would have to look that up. That's too much in depth to go into. But no, I mean, when I say we're strict, we lock it down. We lock it down.
And did he typically take his phone places with him, guys, or did he normally leave it at home?
Believe it or not, it was actually a struggle to get him to carry his phone. He's not like your typical teenager. He's not these kids that, got to stick their head in the phone. He's not
glued to it.
He's not. Because of his restrictions, he knows that what it's for. It's a tool. It's not an entertainment device. He had his struggles with doing basic, simple things. And it was a constant reminder, a constant this. And all three parents have been extremely positive and constantly trying to get him like, hey, We got to do this, bud. We got to do that.
Take your phone.
Take your
Trying to
phone.
teach him to be responsible and to think about it.
Okay, guys. So I just wanted to pop on here really quick. So in the sorry, I must have been muted. So I wanted to pop on here really quick and just say that in the FBI press release, or the press release that we just went over from the FBI, they were saying that Sebastian's phone and his money were left on the dining room table. So I just kind of wanted to reiterate that that's where Sebastian's phone was plugged in on the dining room table, according to Carter, and his money was there too, right? And Cecilia, thank you so much for becoming a new member. Welcome to the Dragon Tribe. Thank you for being here. Barb says in the very first day of the search, people gathered. That's where it was reported. I must have missed something there. Sorry, guys. Yeah, there's a timeline and then things change again. I know, Cecilia, and it's kind of, out of control in my opinion, and I don't think that he would have just left. That's right, Barb. And the thud changed to a bang. And, I don't think he would have just left his money sitting on the table. And if Katie was just saying that they had to work with Sebastian about remembering his phone, well, she was with him all day. So it's very strange. Bubby says, didn't he have his phone in the roadhouse or the restaurant he went with his mother, in my opinion? No, there was like a little black point of sale system that was on the table, and it gathers all kinds of data. You can order from there, you can pay from there, but whenever he was asking his mom, can I play with that, she said no to him, so she didn't even let him play with that. But he didn't have his phone that day, to my knowledge. The phone could be too much of stimulation to Sebastian. And that's true. Seclusion works. I'm sure they did have to kind of monitor screen time and things like that. But any kid, you have to do that. Yeah, I agree. Holly S says KP gets around and that can be used as blackmail later. I agree. I agree with that. I do agree with that, Holly S. That's when something was swung and something happened, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. And I agree, Christy. It's like more of like leaving it up to God. I mean, at this point, it's so tough. Elisa P says that the sheriff's department are stupid and corrupt as fuck. Yeah, I agree with that too. I mean, that's the thing, because, and I always heard that Sebastian's phone was on the charger on the counter, and then his money was in his piggy bank. Like he had like a little, like a safe or something that he kept his money in his closet. That was the first time I'd ever heard that he left money on the table, which doesn't seem to make any sense, right? I mean, why would he put his money, unless it was for school lunch or something like that? But they didn't make it seem that way. They made it seem like he deliberately left behind money and his phone, in my opinion. Christy Smith says Ellie and TBI and FBI has a sloppy statement they put out trying to get us to shut up and very unprofessional. I agree. I really do. Oh, Carla, I hope you feel better. And Robina, your poor baby toe. Cecilia, oh my goodness. I know it's hard when it's like a toe or a finger, right? Because there's not a lot you can do besides ice it. And where did the money and phone come from on the dining room table? Exactly, Robini. It's so strange, They're both lying to save their butts. I agree with that, Cecilia. I do. No, Ava, unfortunately, I don't think he did have the phone. I'm wondering how many phones Katie had at the Texas Roadhouse, though. I really do wonder that. There's times that Seclusion Work says there's times that I throw my phone down because I feel too overstimulated. Yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing too. You could feel like like there's too much information coming in too. Like it can be a distraction, Twist and Turn says don't forget the shoes at the door. Absolutely. Yeah, Bubby, I'm almost positive. The Apple Watch, yes, she did have that, in my opinion. Yeah. He says the thing in the table to play games, you have to pay for those games too. it goes on your bill. Oh, okay, because I know a lot of them don't charge you anything. Thanks, P, for letting us know. Yeah, maybe she didn't want to, you know, want to have to pay for the games. CP listened to make sure she's doing the script right. Yeah, Cecilia, and it's you know, because if he wasn't there, I mean, if he was there, I could understand, you know, hey, could you help me out? You know, we were both there, sort of a thing. But if he wasn't there, that's always really stood out to me. Hey, Adam Forever 21. Lisa B always says it's totally disturbing how easily Katie can lie about her missing son, in my opinion. I know, it really is. Like with the straight face, no feeling bad, no feeling guilty. She was the last one to see him. I mean, that would really weigh on me. It would, you know. Maybe Eric is trying to crawl away from this case because he knows too much. Possibly, Christy. I mean, I don't blame him at this point. I don't know why he's taking all the heat for these people. I'd be putting them in the hot seat before I would be sitting in the hot seat the way he has, in my opinion. You know? Yes, Cecilia, I do remember. I do remember. I ran into an attic chest in my hallway. Oh, ouch. I do that too, where I stub my toe. I know the feeling. Oh my goodness. The hand signal and the cough. Yes. Yes. Oh, okay. At Applebee's, they charged it. I think I played, what was it, a game at? It was something like Life or something, but I don't remember paying. Although maybe I wasn't the one paying for the bill and I didn't notice it though too. Ooh, a new red baseball cap. Cool, Seclusion Works. I think she is too. I think she has sociopathic tendencies, Elisa P. I do. I do. And because she does lie without, you know, like feeling, I mean, there's no remorse, you know. Okay, guys, I just kind of wanted to pop in it just because that was part of the FBI release that we heard, and it's a new detail that we've never really, you know, kind of heard before, that he left his money and his phone on the table, dining room table.
At my house, it's routine. I really don't know too much about their house, but he was getting accustomed to it because every other week coming here or during vacation times and stuff. But I didn't have much of a schedule here unless we were doing things. Because if he was going to be here and he didn't have school, it's like, you know, hey, you can't be up all night. You know, I have to work. You definitely need to be going to bed by like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I know you're watching TV and I know you're playing games on your Switch. And like, if I was at work, I'd just call him from work, see what he's doing, you know, check in on him. And he knew that he needed to make sure his phone stayed charged. And then he needed to answer that phone when it rang because it could either be me or his mom calling him.
I was like, well, how did they know he had a flashlight? Do you want to tell us about that?
One of the first things that was asked is because he left when it was very dark outside, was if he might have taken a flashlight. And he actually has one that he plays with regularly, and I can't find it. So it's likely that he took it.
Okay.
All right, guys, I just wanted to pop back on really quick. Okay, I just wanted to pop back on really quick. So they're saying that it was a yellow flashlight. I never heard about the yellow flashlight, but this is the first time Katie brings it up about the flashlight and talks about how Sebastian took the flashlight with him, right? But then we found out later that the flashlight didn't work and things like that. So I just kind of want to point that out. And she did say when he left, as if he left on his own, right? So this is what, you know, I mean, this is what Katie is saying. This is what she's telling law enforcement. This is what she's sharing out in terms of what happened, right? So, I mean, for law enforcement to be operating under the assumption that Sebastian walked off, I can see why they are, but I don't understand why they didn't also look at all of the other angles. So I'm just going to kind of put that out there, you know.
Jason asks, thank you for being here, Jason. Does he have anything that he holds on to? Anything that he has to have with him at all times? Something that keeps him calm when he has it?
He has various fidgets that he changes out and plays with.
Have you noticed any of those are missing as well?
Honestly, it'd be impossible to tell. He plays with paper clips and pennies and Legos, things that several could go missing and it wouldn't be noticeable.
Okay. Please put some green hearts and prayer hands in the chat for this family.
Sebastian have a key to the house, and if he did he take that key with him?
That is another part of an investigation that's ongoing that we cannot answer.
Okay. You said there was, they had asked you if there was any flashlights that were missing, and that prompted you to go look. Tell me about that. There was some questions about the flashlight, so I just wanted you guys to reiterate that.
Right. So Sebastian had a little, it's about a little 3-inch. If you think about the little keychain flashlights, that used to find at vendor tables they give out for free, cheapies. It was something that he picked up at one of the local festivals, and to right now we still to this date cannot find it. So we are assuming that he took it with him because it cannot be found.
And he did take his eyeglasses with him. They were not found, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Why are you convinced Sebastian left without shoes on? Or are you?
Well, the reason that came about is because all of his shoes are accounted for inside the house still.
Are you positive?
I'm positive.
Has Sebastian ever left the house barefoot that you know of?
Has Sebastian gone outside of the house barefooted? Yes. Before, as he ran off? No.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's how you were asking it, but
no, I'm glad
I'm going to answer it.
I know his dad said that he hasn't seen him go outside without shoes on since he was 2. But I, however, have had a different experience with Sebastian where he does go outside without his shoes on. There's been several times where he takes the trash out in his socks, and I'm like, dude, you got to put shoes on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I would say, honestly, it would just depend, I think, on the situation.
Did he walk out without his shoes on? Is that what you believe?
My statement earlier is real simple. Sebastian walked out of the house not wearing any shoes.
Do you believe he would have left the house in the middle of the night?
Different scenarios go through my head. For him to leave and not have his shoes, coat, take his switch or his phone, stuff that I know that he went with him if he was going to run away. No. But for him to leave without shoes or anything else on there, the situation would have to be severe enough for him not to be able to grab that stuff. So, based on the information that I know about my son and the story that is being told by his mom, for him to have left between the times of falling asleep and 6 o'clock in the morning is straight bullshit. And she knows that's how I feel about it.
Have you been involved or heard of any other incident where he disappeared or got lost in the past?
Never. Yeah, I took him to Boot Barn and bought him a pair of hiking boots.
And those boots were at your house?
They're at his mama's house.
And those boots were accounted for?
Yeah, they were at the front door when I walked in.
Okay, and what size is his shoe?
10.5.
Katie said she bought him 3 pairs of shoes, and she only bought him 3 pairs of shoes. Was that because he didn't like he was very specific on his shoes, or was that a Katie thing?
Probably a Katie thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
So initially, I forgot what day it was. Myself, Katie, and Seth were in my house, and I had brought up the question. I said, "Hey, should we start a GoFundMe page to start trying to raise money to add help to this, however we can?" And the police said, "Hey, no, I don't recommend doing that, because then if you do that, it looks like you're trying to do this for profit." I was like, "Okay, that makes sense." So we all three had an agreement. We weren't doing this. And next thing you know, now there's the GoFundMe page up there.
I mean,
So all of this just kind of stemmed because you got a family member who wants to go out there and blast some family matters to the public. That's where it all stems from. Like I said, this is not family problems. This isn't about family matters being public. It's about Sebastian.
right.
And we've got some family members that aren't necessarily kosher about everything right now, and they're upset. Their emotions are, I got it. Everybody's been at one point hot-headed, if somebody tells me they're not, that's a lie. Everybody's been a hothead at some point.
Yeah. Well,
We got a missing kid, and that's a problem. Before we started doing interviews and talking with media, we were kind of advised, hold off, don't do that. Well, eventually got to the point we needed to start talking to the media.
mhm.
The parents, myself, Katie, and Seth, all decided, we made a pact in the beginning. Hey, if we're going to do this, we're going to keep each other in the loop. We're going to talk to each other and ask. We're not just going to go out here and do our own thing. Okay. That has always been our pact. We would call Seth and say, hey, initially he didn't want to do any type of interviews, and we understood that.
Mhm.
And I asked him, I said, hey man, do you want to phone in with us? Do you want to come to the house and we'll do this as a group? What do you want to do? We've tried and we want to do this as a group. Unfortunately, somewhere along the way, we've all kind of gotten off track, and he's kind of gone out and done his thing. We've kind of done our thing. Mrs. Rogers done her thing. I think his sister may have done something. But everybody's getting the word out.
Did you stay with Chris and Katie there for several nights?
I didn't stay the night, if that's what you're asking. Hell no.
Okay, so you guys didn't sleep. Well, because I had heard rumors that you and your family stayed there, and I was going to ask you about some.
No, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They told us not to search. All right. They told us not to be getting out and walking through the forest and shit like that, looking for Sebastian. That they didn't want one of us to go missing while we're looking for our son. Understand that. That's why I did my searching out of the vehicle. Driving around, hollering for my son, going up and down every road, looking as far as I can see, screaming for his name, almost went and bought a bullhorn.
And I also know that his truck was there off and on the whole time.
After Chris lost his cool, I couldn't stay there after Wednesday.
Lost his cool how? I never heard this.
The GoFundMe my sister set up to help me pay my bills while I look for my son.
What was that
The
all over? Why did he want
GoFundMe-
you to stop?
Hold on.
Why did he
Hold on.
threaten you?
Hold on. It was a GoFundMe that my sister set up for me to pay my bills while I look for my son. It wasn't set up as a reward. It wasn't set up as anything else. People want to know what happened to it. It was donated. I used it to pay my bills. I used it to put gas in my truck so I could drive an hour and a half down there, an hour and a half back. People.
You don't have to convince me because I know how expensive.
No, it's just a little annoying. If the GoFundMe had been put up for a reward, yes, it would have been used as a reward. And I still have some of it. and I still won't touch a portion of it because I'm wanting to put it into the reward. But it has to be set up properly, and law enforcement has to literally approve of it.
Right. Gotcha.
You know, just because people want something done doesn't mean it happens. I'd like my son to be found, and I'm looking for him.
I left as soon as I could, when I could.
You 7 hours to get home. I don't know.
It's a 7+ hour round trip from my house to Memphis.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's not. Yeah, so they're saying that some people were saying that you like didn't leave right away and you were waiting, and we already went through all that. So
well, and some of those folks' comment is correct. Yes,
yeah.
yes, because I could not leave. I can't just. It's not a normal job. You can't just tell your boss I'm out of here and walk out the door, get in your car, and leave. You know, I mean, there's a lot of safety involved. You know, Sebastian's dad, same thing. He's not going to be able to just be like, "Hey, I'm out of here," and walk out the door. You know, I left as soon as I could, when I could.
Chris, what time did you get home on Monday? Do you remember?
I want to say it was. Well, hold on. Let's see here. One something, I think.
And then did you have to go back up there and get your camper? Somebody had to drive it back. Or?
No. It's a fifth wheel. It's a fifth wheel.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No. You know, so there's a couple things that, because of this whole situation, I hope families never endure.
Right.
Without going into great details, I almost lost my job.
Mm-hmm. Over this?
Yes, over this, very much. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just you sit in the crane, you get bored. You sit on a construction site, you get bored. You know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just you sit in the crane, you get bored. You sit on a construction site, you get bored. You know.
And because of that, I was like, well, so I got permission, and I say I got permission. I asked law enforcement, said, hey, I need to go down, go get my fifth wheel, and I need to bring it home.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, you know, and they said, okay. So we told them what day we were going, and we went down there. We weren't even down there, I don't know, 24 hours maybe. I think we were down there maybe 17 hours, long enough to get down there. I finished packing everything up. And I say she didn't go. I was down there long enough to pack everything up. I spent the night in my trailer, hooked up the next morning, and came home.
Were you there when Chris approached the law enforcement to get the camper, to get permission to go get the camper?
I was not.
But you heard about it.
Oh, I heard about it.
What day did he leave? The very next day, or was it a day or two after?
I do not know.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday while I was there.
Gotcha. And what did Ellie say at the time you left the Proudfoot home about the status of the case at that time?
When he left?
No, when he probably went to go get the camper and you probably went on your way. Did law enforcement give you an update? That was really early on in the case, obviously much different than where we
After
are now.
Wednesday, my parents showed up from Texas, and they were staying over in Goodlettsville at the RV park.
Gotcha.
I told them where I was at, and they they knew where I was at. And except for me calling them to find out what was going on, really didn't have much communication with them. I was kicked out of the command center.
What was that about?
I shouldn't be here looking at the computers. I was
You
looking
were
at
crying
them.
too.
You know, and my son's missing. I want to see where you're searching. Why? So I can go search. I gotta stay in my vehicle. I can't get out and go running around. But I can sure drive around.
Yeah.
I can look. I was told that I'm not supposed to be doing that.
But you did it anyways.
I've never been one, you know, when it comes down to something important, you're going to do what you're going to do.
You got to do what you got to do.
And there's nothing more important to me than my son.
The one news anchor, instead of just reporting, you know, kept insinuating stuff, which in itself is a problem. And it drew the focus away from Sebastian and started focusing more on, you know, who did it? Who did it? Well, these people are, you know, and that was a problem, you know. So we don't want false information. None of the parents, none of the family members want false information. We just want the accurate information out there and people to focus on finding him instead of bashing parents or bashing something that they don't like, you know. And just if people would put that focus into finding Sebastian instead of bashing us, that would be amazing. We love you all regardless. I don't find.
Okay, guys, so I'm just going to pop in really quick here. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys this really quick, right? Because Chris is always saying if we would stop bashing them, that he would, you know, go find Sebastian or whatever. So I just wanted to share this with you all. On X. And I hope that you guys can hear it.
And what the video shows, it's kind of mind-boggling.
Look at this. Look at this. Can you see him? Oh my God. I'm so irritated right now. I really thought I was Come here.
Samael.
My name is Deputy Samael. I'm with the Special Police Department from the #FUBJ.
Show me your thing.
Yeah, I got my
super soaker.
My super soaker.
I can't stand y'all. Well, I'm gonna get off here and go visit with the process server. That's what I'm gonna do. Maybe back on later, might not.
This is not humor. This is heartless. A purported stepdad who should be helping instead ridicules the pain of a grieving father while altering public perception on national television. This video depicts the true Christopher Proudfoot. Sebastian has been missing for 559 days. A boy lost, a family shattered. Where is the justice? Sebastian Rogers deserves better. We all do.
I mean, it's just despicable. I've never seen a stepdad, dad, mom act this way in a missing child's case. So I just wanted to share that out really quick, and we can keep on going a little bit longer with this.
Everything is important as anything else. But at the same time, do I want to sit down with somebody who's drugged me through the mud
continues to drag us through the mud and keeps putting false information out there, which causes a lot of problems, not just for us, but for the law enforcement folks that are also doing their job trying to find Sebastian. It's an issue.
No.
Did you find any behaviors when Chris and Katie got together as and the reason why they were the last person to see your son? You know, I'm not trying to, you know, I don't want to put you in a
Their
position.
conversations are inappropriate for what was going on.
How do you mean?
Talking about the next vacation, the jewelry that, you know, I'm going to buy for that is Kathy wants jewelry and wants Christopher to buy it for her. I mean, the conversations were enough to make me sick, so I left to go try to find my son.
They were having these conversations in the house. Kathy was these people. What was your opinion of Kathy?
My opinion of her?
Yeah.
Really going to piss off Chris if I sit there and tell you my opinion.
Have you met her before?
Yes, she was actually supposed to be helping me find a place to live. She's a realtor. Has plenty of access to plenty of places.
She knows law enforcement. They have connections. Do you know if Chris has family that works for Sumner County Sheriff?
I've heard that he does.
And do you know that his mom has a friend by the name of Ginger, which is, I guess, a Henderson chief or some kind of lieutenant or something, Henderson Police Department?
I have no idea. I just know Chris grew up in this area. They've been here for a long time. And unfortunately, I'm classified as an outsider. But my son lived there. He went missing in Sumner County. People may not like me as an outsider. He's my son. People are going to have to get over certain things because I'm not willing to be over my son just poof, as Chris says, or Houdini himself out.
We talk about it whenever they come and they talk to us or they call us on the phone. This is a case that literally has got all of these agencies stumped. Okay, and I'm saying this very openly as far as, you know, playing devil's advocate. Let's say one of us was suspected of foul play. Let's say something, right?
Right.
There's no way that we would outdupe all these agencies. There's no way. However, this 15-year-old boy has managed to outdo everybody. Call him Houdini. He always wanted to be a ninja, and we kept goofing around. Well, he has officially done it because poof, nothing.
Talking about they still don't know how he got out of the house. There's no evidence he ever left the house.
That's what we kind of concluded with everything.
It's the same thing that they said at the last press conference.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I'd just like people to understand, being in law enforcement, they don't have to tell us it's a criminal investigation. What they have told us is that it's an investigation. And it's the same thing I've told people close to me, that you'll know if it's a criminal investigation when they slap them fucking bracelets on your wrist and you're off fucking wear orange for the rest of your goddamn life. Bubba gonna like you. And I feel sorry for whoever did it. Best bet is just to let my son go. Drop him off at a gas station. Tell him to go in and tell him what your name is. Tell him to call 911. Doesn't matter where you are. It will get to me. And I will be driving to pick him up.
Is there anything else that you guys want to share with us that you think that we need to know about the circumstances involving Sebastian going missing? Is there anything that you want to share with us that we have not talked about? I'm going to put this flyer again here so you guys can take another look at that.
I mean, everything that we've covered so far, I mean, is exactly everything that we've covered. You know, we miss him and we want him home.
Exactly.
Baby home.
If you see this flyer on social media, you guys can share this from my YouTube community wall, from Trev's. You can share it from our Facebook pages. I'm sure Arctic Fox also has it on his page. Whatever we can do to try to help your family, please reach out to me and let me know. And we have a wonderful group of people in this community that will try to do whatever we can. And hopefully I'll hear something from Wings of Hope, and they'll let me know if they're going to be able to try to assist. David Bryant, thank you so much for your super chat. He said, we're going to find him. Keep your head up and hug him tight when he gets back. Prayers for y'all. Everyone keep searching and doing what we can. David, I appreciate that. I'm going to take that $50 and I'm going to put it towards that billboard that I'm going to design. We're going to get that up for Sebastian as soon as we can. I really appreciate you donating. It means so much. Well, guys, I really appreciate you joining us. If you have any updates that you want to share with us, please don't hesitate to reach out. If there's something that you want to share, if you want me to have another live stream, you may want to have a live stream with Trev. He has a large following on his channel, and some of those people don't necessarily follow my stream. So I'm sure they might, want to talk to you. And so we can continue to share out Sebastian's information, and you'll be on my prayer list. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'll even share my phone number with you. And if there's anything that you need, you can call me.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. It's just, there are so many people that are out here supporting. Don't listen to these naysayers.
We just want to say thank you to everyone who's working with us to try and bring him home.
And everybody for all your support and your prayers and your love.
You have a lot of people that are working very hard to find your son.
Tonight, the parents of a missing teen in Sumner County described to us exclusively how they feel on day 8 of their son's disappearance. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Marius Payton.
And I'm Lauren Lowry. Sebastian Rogers is 15. He was last seen by his parents on February 25th in Hendersonville. Sebastian has autism, and he's gone without his medication this whole time. And since then, authorities have searched by air, by foot, and on horseback.
Helicopters, drones, and dive teams have also been brought in to try to find him. Today, his parents spoke exclusively to our Holly Thompson.
So, guys, they were saying his parents last seen him on the 25th, right? That's what they're saying. But now Chris is saying he wasn't home. So this is another reason why people might think that Chris was home, even if he wasn't, right? Because of things like this, even if it's misquoted by the news, or if that was the story that was being told to law enforcement and law enforcement was reiterating it over. I think they need a notepad, and I think they need to write everything down from the beginning, right? And they should have done that, because without them doing that, that's why there's so much confusion, right? Because you just hear that it says his parents last seen him on February 25th. Well, they're not about to talk to Seth and Katie. They're about to talk to Chris and Katie, right? I'm a naysayer too, Robini. I am. I can't help it. Well, and I get a little bit angry when they've given out misinformation from the beginning, and then now it's just, it's way too far in for this, in my opinion.
Live tonight in Sumner County. Holly, I imagine it was quite an emotional interview.
Certainly was. It is hard for any of us to imagine the emotions that this family is going through right now. But we know one thing is certain. They remain positive. They are holding on to hope that their son Sebastian will return home safely.
Can you walk us through what you're thinking right now?
I just want my baby to be okay. I don't know where he's at.
Mom Katie broke down several times in our interview, but says her hope is strong that her son Sebastian will be found safe and return home.
He's going to walk through that door, and this street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug him, love him. And
Stepdad Chris says it's been an emotional roller coaster that all started Sunday night, February 25th.
Pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom. I love you."
Katie says she went to wake up Sebastian around 6 a.m. Monday for school, and he was gone. Within minutes, Katie says she was on the phone with Chris, who was working out of town, and they quickly called 911.
And he's not a runner. He's never run away before.
I don't know why. I don't know why he walked out that door.
I mean, he's a good kid. He's not a mischievous child by any means.
Katie and Chris say Sebastian is not on social media. While he loves to play Minecraft, they tell me he does not have any online capabilities. I asked if there was any reason he might want to leave.
We've been combing over that day and even the weeks before he left, and I hadn't been able to figure it out. He's that morning he was laughing, he was joking.
It's as if Sebastian vanished. No sign of him on any video throughout the community. Thousands of miles logged by law enforcement, canines, helicopters, even dive teams, and no sign of him. Chris and Katie tell me they've been harassed, people pointing fingers at them.
You're not in this situation. You don't quite understand. I wish.
Okay, guys, I just want to point out how nice and kind Duchess was to them, accommodating, compassionate, caring with them and their feelings. And then they go on here talking about this. But in my opinion, they were probably instigating it through Facebook and other outlets, right? Because Chris was saying, oh, ask me anything, hit me up on Facebook. You know, and all of this stuff, they're doing exactly what a criminal does when they're watching the news and trying to figure all of this stuff out, right? It's very textbook, but somehow no one noticed.
People would step back, take a different wide open
Besides us.
view, and not assume what they know. It's just better to stick to the facts.
Are you both in the clear?
I can tell you that Mom, myself, and the father have worked very fully and cooperatively with all agencies across the board.
See how he's shaking his head no, but he's giving an affirmative answer.
We have anything that they've wanted, we have provided.
What do you want to say to Sebastian? What do you want him to hear from you right now?
That we love you so much and we want you to come home and you're not in trouble.
Okay. So that's just me being silly in here too. But, you know, and I kind of put those all together a while back, but I wanted to share them with you again too, because I think that it's really important to remember that this is what people are saying, right? Oh, hola, Diana. Good to see you. This is what we were kind of given in the beginning, and this is what we were working with. Also, this is what law enforcement was also kind of working with too. It's very unfortunate that we've had to deal with this, you know, and I don't feel sorry for Chris and Katie. I don't at this point. I can't. You know, I hear what you're saying too, Bobby. It's hard because it's like, you know, you kind of want to go all over for information, right? And you kind of want to gather and make up your own mind. That's a good thing. I think that's the smartest thing to do, is watching everyone and seeing how everything is going on, right? Because if we only look at it from one perspective, then we're doing just as bad as Craddock did in the beginning, you know, operating under the assumption that Sebastian just walked off. So remember when the beginning, they had a mattress in the garage and they threw it away. I believe, in my opinion, that he was stuffed in there. In my opinion, I'm speculating. I see what you're saying, Bubby. I remember there was a story of a girl that same thing happened. Elisa P says, why the F didn't the media ask why every photo was when he was in elementary school or a child? That is such a good question. I don't know. I think Holly Thompson kind of has ties to the family, and I think that's why they wanted to do the interview with her. You know, sorry guys, I must have missed something. I'm sorry. Adam Forever 21 says maybe he did it and tricked her by the phone calling, talking odd in the direction he'd know the way out, away from the scene. Well, and it really makes me pause too, because they're saying that Sebastian had no access to computers, but we know he did, right? And he was taking classes for agriculture online, and he was given an honorary award, right, through the FFA. So he was taking, yeah, he never ran away. Now, Bubby, there was a story out there that Sebastian was hiding under a vehicle, but then they said that that wasn't him, that they had it mixed up with another child in the area, which that's scary. That is so scary to think about, like a kiddo, like hiding under your vehicle, right? Because like if you get in your vehicle in the morning, and not know that he's there, right? That's such a scary thought. No worries, Bubby. Michelle says he didn't really answer the question, just dance around it. Yeah, Michelle, and we see that a lot, right? And then it's just, I don't understand how they could get a good vibe off of what is being said at all. He does look like a startled squirrel. He does. And he also reminds me of this little pig right here. He looks just like him. And, all I did was, put in the little piggy. Jeez. Oh, he does, though. He looks like a deer in the headlights. Yeah. Well, and that's it too. Adam Forever 21 says, seems like the pattern matches someone who knew all the schematics. Right. So like of the neighborhood, I mean, he obviously did a little bit of research on where the cameras were, in my opinion. We talked about the jammers. We also heard Stephen Crabtree talk about the jammers as well. So I know, seclusion is terrible. And it's crazy, Elisa P, because he's book smart, but obviously not street smart, right? Very easily manipulated, very naive. I don't watch Jay, so she could have said that. So I'm genuinely asking, I know. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought you guys, I thought you accidentally just typed in Jay, but I wasn't sure if you were just talking about Jay's for Justice or Jay from Crime Time Buzz. Seclusion. Yeah, he does not even speak like a sheriff. Yeah, he's more of a punk. I agree with that. He does not go the extra mile for the people, right, to make them feel safe or comfortable. He doesn't care, in my opinion. I used to think he did care a little bit because he's the sheriff, right? But after what I saw with Seth, no, I don't believe that at all. I believe that I was duped. Hey, Astrology for Mystics with Jen. Good to see you. I shared your live earlier from you and Leanne. I was in there in the bushes for a little while before I went on, and you guys were like on fire when I was in there. So we don't know what we don't know. Cheese curd. Rob Beanie, it's terrible. And it's so strange how we've gone from a trash truck to headlights in the distance. Now, if it's 300 yards away, there's no way. I do believe that there may have been headlamps. And I saw you guys talking in the chat earlier. And I know it can be so frustrating. I know we're all like super passionate. So, I know that some of the debates can get a little bit heated. I'm glad that you guys are respectful of each other. And, we're going to disagree on some aspects. And then I always say, if I'm not wrong in this case, I'll be so shocked because there's so much. And there's also just so much misinformation. Oh, Sebastian didn't have any type of, way to get, a hold of anybody online. Well, sure he did. Sure he did. And to think that he didn't is very naive. To think that he didn't. Well, P, I was complaining about that too. Because the Texas Roadhouse picture that we originally thought was from that night, it was an old picture that Katie had to have given to the TBI, but the TBI put their stamp of approval on it. But my question is that why did they do that, right? Like, obviously, Katie gave them the picture, right? She had to have, because that's her kid. And it was her and Sebastian, and it wasn't from, when she was with Seth, right? So it had to have been her, but she was taking pictures of him at the table. So why didn't she give one of those up? Well, there was a little bit of correspondence that came out from Dog the Bounty Hunter, and it showed, or at night, and it actually shows that, the workers saw the video and saw Katie taking pictures of Sebastian. And they were wondering the same exact thing, like, how come those pictures weren't, and then it's redacted, but it seems like what they were getting at is that those pictures were no longer on her phone, and she didn't give them up as pictures for that day. So, I mean, it's still unfolding, in my opinion. And of course, we're going to get more context when we get to see the bowling video. Cheese curd. I thought you called him a cheese curd. I was like, that's funny. Bubby says the reason why you're saying that is that I said that the mother, Katie, said that he was a runner after she said he wasn't a runner. Oh, I gotcha. They were just correcting me. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, well, that's the thing that's tough, right? Because in the same interview, and she said, my son's not a runner. He's never run away before. So we're thinking in our heads, okay, well, mom, his mother is saying that he's not a runner. He never ran away before. But then towards the end of the interview with Holly Thompson, she says, I don't know why. And then she stops herself, and then she says, I don't know why he walked out that door. She said, it would have made more sense if we'd been fighting. And then Chris looks at her and he's like, or if he was in trouble, but he wasn't even in trouble, And so again, it's like, well, do they think that he was in trouble? I mean, or excuse me, does Sebastian think he's in trouble, right? Like, that's what we're thinking in the beginning, especially if we're considering the facts that maybe he did, leave in the middle of the night. Maybe he did feel overstimulated from the day and run off, right? Because a lot of times, even when they interviewed one of the locals, she's autistic, and she was saying, I understand that urge. Even though I didn't elope, I had the urge to do so at times when I felt overwhelmed, right? So it just kind of depends. Everybody's different, Elisa P says that never even came into their mind how they were giving them photos of an elementary age child when he's 15. Yeah, I agree with that, Elisa P. I agree. It doesn't seem like it was very, it doesn't even seem like it was on their radar. They just stamped it with approval and said, yep, sure. And if we look at Sebastian, I should have done a side-by-side for us. But if we look at Sebastian at the Texas Roadhouse in the one photo, which was probably from, maybe even up to a year old, not terribly old in my opinion. I think it was about, within the year. I mean, it's quite obvious Sebastian got older, right, in that time period, because his haircut is different, his hair's a little bit darker, right, things like that. And also, one major key point and reason that I don't think they gave the photo that Katie took was because Sebastian wasn't having the best time, and that was a happier trip that they took. And so Katie gave that picture to pass it off as a happier time, because let's be honest, it wasn't the best time at the Texas Roadhouse at the table. I mean, it just wasn't. Going to Pig Fest. YouTuber. I will be there and wearing the shirt. Oh, definitely. CP did say Sebastian was in the neighbor's yard when they came home, if I remember correctly. I've always thought that they went straight into the garage and parked in the garage, and that was why they were you know, people were having trouble making sure that Sebastian did in fact get home. But, you know, that dash cam audio and everything that the police mentioned, they're saying that that's confirming that Sebastian made it to the house, you know. No, the reporter's not picking up on any of it, GA64. We're going to keep hope alive, right? And it's like, well, sure, but in the same way, let's figure out what could have happened to this child, right? Because it could have been something really easy, especially with some follow-up questions. You know, could he be here? Could he be at this place? But in my opinion, Katie knows where her son is. That's why she's not looking for him, you know? And I hate to say that, but I think it's true. Bubby says, I've been on this case since day one. When Madeline Soto went missing, then Sebastian Rogers went missing. That's why I know a little bit about it since the beginning it all started. Yeah, and I was looking at a completely different case. Well, I had been just following Pascal, a lot of the cases that he was covering, and especially Riley Strain. So, yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, Bubby. And then I just got really interested in covering Sebastian's case, you know, because I mean, I really thought he'd be found, you know. Yeah, well, I believe that too, Elisa. I think that he was really inside the house a lot. I don't think he was really. I mean, anytime they said he was out in the yard with like Chris, they said some terrible things happened, and that was said to him, you know. Oh, great, Cecilia, thank you so much. I think it's true, and the Sebastian had been out around the neighborhood, maybe just walking. You know, I think they would have had some footage of it because remember, P, they were asking people for footage in the neighborhood. Love you too, Jen. But you know, I mean, they were looking for footage out in the neighborhood. So they said, check your cameras even sooner, you know? Yeah. Yeah, Robini says, I came on the case when Riley went missing and Sebastian right after. Yeah, because I remember people saying in the chat, Sebastian Rogers is missing. And then, but I remember getting notifications. I think I was subbed up to Trevor Lee at that time too. And I know I used to see the flyer and post it when he, you know, I'd repost his post. So I do remember that too. He doesn't come off like a cop at all, Elisa. Not at all. Not at all. I was too. I thought he was very immature. You know, I thought, oh, he's just like kind of a deputy, you know. Yeah, Ken. Yeah, standing there with Ken Widener, his last name in front of emergency management. Yeah. Yeah, Ken Widener. Mm-hmm. I thought Ken was the sheriff too. Well, and Ken had said he had been in law enforcement for like 30 years or something. He's seasoned. Emergency management though. I don't know what that all falls under. The bubble gum. The bubble gum. Yeah. Yeah. In my opinion, the sheriff was caught with his boys hanging out of his zipper. Then he went to talk to the city council. Yeah, I agree. C. Taylor says some neighbors said they didn't even know a child even lived there and had never seen him. Right. Oh, yes. Bobby said that, and like there was no toys out there. Um, Give me that freak. Why are you here then? Here, we'll just ban you forever. You never have to deal with it again. Big bulbs, Michelle. And came across as that too. Yeah, I agree. Hey, Bo, good to see you. P says, if we don't know really which one is the one he most looks like now out of those pictures, how would we know if we've seen him? I mean, I think that's a good question. How I would gauge it is I would kind of go off of the most recent one. That's what I've been trying to do since we found out which one is the most recent, which is the Texas Roadhouse one. I do have that one here. Let me see if I can pull it in. But see, like, that's the one that I try to focus on a lot. I know it's just a profile picture. I wish Katie would have given the one that she took straight away, you know, straight on, so we could see his facial features. Now, this one right here, Sebastian, that was his 8th grade picture. Right? Poor Sebastian. And then this one was at his birthday right before, you know, when Aunt Melissa was bullying him. So this was another one, you know, that could be pretty much, you know, one of the closest ones to Sebastian now. You know, sad. No photos from when he was 8. No. Oh, absolutely not. Yeah. Yeah, and it should be the video. Yeah, the mannerisms in the video. They should have put the newest one on the Amber Alert. Thank you, Adam Forever 21. I'm really hoping to kind of paint the picture still, guys, because now the whole timeline's going to be thrown off, you know? And so yes, they did. They did use the old picture, Holly S. Good point. Do I have that one still? It was like when he had his cat still, and that was like back when they still had the cat. So that was when Chris and Katie were dating even. I don't have that one in here, unfortunately. So, but I do have it in the America's Most Wanted video, and you know, they did not put all of, you know, the video in there, in my opinion. You know, they took out the end. Hey, Tony Fire, good to see you. So, good morning, Dragon Tribe, says Tony. Good morning, Tony. In the shadows listening, just wanted to say hi. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. And some neighbor said that CP with a power pressure washer, yeah, and aimed it at Sebastian and told him to get away. In my opinion, that's what I heard on the YouTube streets. Yeah. There was an interview with one of the neighbors that they were talking on the phone, and that's what it was alleged. And I also did hear that it was fake, Elisa P. I've heard that too. That the person didn't live in Tennessee. He had, like, in my opinion, I know we were talking about accents earlier, I think he had more of like maybe a New York type accent or something, you know, like in my opinion, that's kind of what I was thinking. He is so handsome, Tony Fire, and such a sweet kid, and very attentive to his mom, you know, which just makes the statement even more horrible, you know. It says the evidence will, when they put this out, you know, it says the evidence will illustrate why a brief 10-minute stop at the facility, right, strike and spare, hardly justifies the mischaracterized depiction in their press release, which falsely claimed that the pair enjoyed their evening. Sebastian appeared visibly startled, standing timidly behind his mother throughout. The duo did not bowl at all. They merely approached the front desk before leaving promptly, which is very sad. This one he does. Yeah, this is when he had just turned 15 in this picture. So it looks like he had like a fresh haircut. Maybe not though. Yeah, they lied and they made it all up. Yeah, that's what I heard too. Yeah, I've heard differing opinions. Yeah, Brooks found out that lady was lying. Yeah. I know. And see, this is what's terrible. And if people come out and they do that and insert themselves in the case, that's even worse. It's even worse. Yeah, seclusion. I hear that they do. Thanks, Coffee, Crime, and Cats. Yeah, they do, from my understanding, every 2 years. So, hey, Don Emery, good to see you. Didn't want it recorded. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's what I heard too. Like they were pretending that they were a neighbor, but they weren't. Tony says, all I know is the Banana Boy was there that weekend. He was involved 1,000,000%. It's all over the place. It is. We don't know what's true. And that's what's terrible is because this whole time here we're thinking, because Katie told us, yeah, we woke up, we did the spaghetti pancakes, we went, and she made it a point to tell us in Duchess interview it was just Sebastian and her. She said it's just me and Bubba. But we know that she calls him Bubba. Or did. Yeah, my son went from a skinny 14-year-old to a huge 16-year-old and lost his baby face to his mature face. Yeah, it's so fast too, seclusion. We were talking about that with Perfectly Imperfect Boy Mom, um, you know, with the shoes. Because I was like, is 2 shoe sizes even possible? And people were like, yeah, the boys. And I'm like, okay, because girls, we don't do that as much, it seems like. I think it was 2 motorcycles, Diana says, in the 3 a.m. video. There, I solved that misunderstanding. And in my opinion, Sebastian Wade Drake Rogers, say his name, is in Alaska living in an igloo. In my opinion. I just hope he's okay, Diana. And I appreciate that. I don't know. It's so hard to tell. That tree line is so thick. I'm like, there's no way that 300 yards away. And I'm not buying it. Yeah, almost feels like KP was going around around town looking for someone. I agree, Holly S. Yeah, it is so confusing. And I don't take what just anybody says is true. And you really can't in this case. It's like, put it in the vault and then maybe, okay, let's see if we could, debunk it or, I think he had more friends, Cecilia, than they let on. Because, like Seth said, that he was playing like Magic the Gathering, and he was playing the strategic social games, Dungeons and Dragons. Um, you know, so yeah, and you can't, Bubby. It's terrible. It's like we don't know really. Well, now I'm just reconstructing the timeline again, and I've been trying to do that. Robini says they said they reported it to CPS, and he told KP to come get her R word. Once looked into, they proved he wasn't even a neighbor, and no report was made. Well, and I've heard the other neighbors had said that. So I wonder if that guy was like taking what he saw from other people and then trying to get attention from the case, to be on a panel and stuff like that, which is so weird because I mean, if I'm going on a panel, I'd want to, something that you could be proud of, but I don't know. Seen a post on Facebook of a boy they say is missing in Kansas or Kansas City that may look like Sebastian, about Sebastian's age. It looks similar to Sebastian. Thanks, P. Wow, I didn't hear about that one. Bubby says just like they're saying that CP and his mother had the same camper and they switched campers, that they or another day, I don't know, something like that, in my opinion. Yeah, well, and I've heard that too, that they were switching out campers. When we were listening to the interview earlier in Jay at Crime Time Buzz, it was interesting because people were saying, hey, I can hear that background noise when it in the camper, and everybody said, like, a lot of people, I'll just put it that way, not everybody, but a lot of people said that you could hear like tons of things going on in the background in the Nancy Grace interview. Chris and Katie looked super nervous, and I could hear all of that stuff going on. So I was thinking maybe they were cleaning the camper, or maybe they just had like a lawyer there, something like that. Yeah, CP's a jerk for sure, but well, and you just don't want to you hate to accuse somebody of something they didn't do, right? It's already bad enough. We already have a negative view, like we don't need more of it, especially if it's a lie. And I don't want to, spread that around about. I wouldn't like that either. So Elisa P says exactly, Rob Beanie, that person screwed with the wrong person. Brooke's husband is former Ellie. I like Brooks. So yeah, I like her. She actually had sent me something over to share about the and I think I talked about it that night, about the playground they're going to build for Monkey. So really, really sweet. And of course, I always keep Brandy in our prayers here. And she, as far as I know, she's recovering from the surgery that she had. So I'm just always praying for her. Yeah, she finds things out easily. Well, and I mean, it is tough, but like you kind of realize, like um, people try to tell you all kinds of stuff when you're a creator, like even small ones like me. And you just kind of almost have to be careful of who you listen to, because people are really passionate, and I get that, but I also don't want to spread misinformation. I try really hard not to, you know. Hey, Blind Talon. If Sebastian had a passport, well, I wondered about that. I mean, because people were saying that, like, what if she was taking a picture for like a fake passport, or an ID or something like that. So I mean, I don't doubt that could have been, Yeah, and I understand that. Hey, people are gonna side eye Bubby, and I think it's mostly because of some of these interviews have been full of inconsistencies. That's why I do anyway. It's not to be hateful. I just wish we could get to the bottom of it. And it's an extremely weird case, Elisa P. It is. And it's hard to really like dissect out the truth, especially when we see, posts like what we're seeing from At Night saying, oh, they were only there for 10 minutes, because Katie made it seem like, yeah, we didn't get to go bowling, but we, you know, played the arcade instead. And let me show you guys this. Oh, not that. Let me stop this and let me pull in this part. Just to kind of show you guys, because I'd never really did a whole lot. Now I did at BJ's because of the colossal popcorn and that sort of thing. And then the Texas Roadhouse, Strike and Spare. Here, we'll do this one because I think this is like their full website. Yeah. All right. So let me go ahead. And I did show this earlier, guys. So again, I don't want to be repetitive, but I just kind of want to put it into perspective, kind of what we're looking at here. Okay, great. Just before I let you guys go here, but I know we're all kind of curious. So Strike and Spare is, like a family fun zone, right? They have bowling, they have all kinds of fun stuff. Circus World. So, they do open bowling. They got leagues, right? Let me make this smaller. Oh, that's why, because I pulled it up earlier today. There we go. So that's 100%. That's better. So yeah, they have VIP bowling rates. Now, one thing I pointed out earlier today is that, bowling center hours, open bowling times are from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Sunday, right? So that whole entire time, more than welcome to bowl, open bowl, right? And you could call ahead for open bowl time, holiday rate specials, and check for lane availability due to leagues. Call Hendersonville Strike and Spare, right? So you can call ahead and make sure. Just like it appears Katie called ahead as well. Now, with leagues, we weren't able to find leagues going on Sunday. Typically, it seems like leagues are going at different times, right? So we have Sunday BS bowling leagues, but those are in August. So they have them in summertime. Let me see if you guys can see. See, this is why I had to make it bigger last time. I was going to say this is kind of small on my page. Oh, that didn't help at all. There we go. Okay, that's probably the best we're going to get it. And then Monday they have Senior Bowl, right? And that is in September. August, we have that other Monday night mix, which is like women and men's, right, together. Monday trios, right? Monday SNSF. But those are all in the summertime, right? And then they also have Special Olympics too, which is fantastic. They got Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. These are all summer leagues. We did find a winter league, but again, it's very odd, and I don't believe Katie now, right? But then I also wanted to show you guys really quick too, so just bear with me. They have like all of these different activities. So bungee trampolines, roller skating rink. They have like a soft play, so it's an indoor playground, right? Laser tag, bumper cars, time freak, which is like virtual reality. Also, arcade and ticket redemption center, right? So there's like a whole arcade in there, but they only stayed for 10 minutes. It's so bizarre. Then they also hold special events and parties, right? So $2 Thursday and Tuesday and Thursday, $2 game night, right? 9 p.m. to close. They also have happy hour drinks because they do have a bar and grill. And then here we see Sunday, right? Sunday from 5 p.m. until 10 p.m., $14, all you can bowl, or for VIP it's $16.50. Now, from the time it opens until 4 o'clock, they have like a matinee special where you can get a one-topping pizza, a large one-topping pizza, a pitcher of pop, and then you also get 4 pairs of shoes, right? Everything's like, it's like a little bowling package that they do. Doesn't talk about league on Sunday at all, right? And then it does say, you know, its specials are subject to lane availability because they do get busy, right? So please call ahead. But that's no biggie. That's anywhere you go. You know, it's like if you're going to go to the movies, some movies you got to buy a ticket for earlier. You're not going to get a ticket, right? You better pick a different movie, have a second choice available. Parties. Okay. And then I also want to show you guys the grill. This menu was just updated in 2025. But I mean, they have everything, guys. And I do mean everything. Oh, that's not helping me. It was doing better earlier. Oh, no, I don't want that. All right, there we go. But yeah, they got salads. They got pizza. They got corn dogs, hamburger, cheeseburger, Diablo burger, mushroom burger, turkey burger, veggie burger, patty melt, I mean, BLT, grilled cheese, you name it. And then they have all the different drinks, right? Icy, all of that. They have sweets. They have sides, right? Any type of fries you want, curly fries, tater tots, all that. So, I mean, just to show you guys, you know, it just doesn't, none of it makes sense that they went to go eat at the Texas Roadhouse, you know? Just none of it makes sense. Because all they went there for really was to be seen on camera. I think so too, Elisa. I do too. 10 minutes, you know, and all this stuff. He's controlling everything she says and done, even probably she doesn't probably even realize it. I can see that too, Adam, Forever 21. You just kind of go with it too. And it's definitely survival. You know, it was an alibi. It had to have been, especially if Sebastian was in that, you know, the state of mind that is being described in the post, which still remains to be seen, of course. Coffee Crime and Cat says, Elisa P., when did this information come out? I'm just hearing about this tonight. I'm sorry, guys. I'm probably in a YouTuber. I know they have a kick-ass menu over here. I'm like, you know, I think they should get a warrant and go back in there and look at the house and other things. I think so too. Yep, only there for 10 minutes, according to what we saw from At Night. Hey, Kylie's Nail Candy, good to see you. And never played any games. No, good night, C. Taylor. So yeah, I mean, never played any games. Digital evidence for future evidence, yeah. I've heard this, Elisa P., that Katie allegedly is seen slapping Sebastian in the back of the head. And if we see that, guys, ooh, she was mad at him. I know. And it does seem like she was mad at him, right? We had a good day, though, she's telling us all. It needs to go back to square one. I agree. Coffee, Crime, and Cats. It really does. Kylie's Nail Candy says, I think that Sebastian overheard the plan, in my opinion. I've thought about that a lot too, Kylie's Nail Candy, because there was a lot of that were in the interview with Chronicles of Olivia. Katie talks about how Sebastian used to like to dip behind walls and then jump out and scare her. But sometimes kids are really, really intelligent and they're dipping behind the walls so they can hear the conversations that the adults are having, right? So... But either way, I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys tonight and just kind of get, you know, maybe set up expectations for something that we're probably going to see. Like Elisa was saying, that's what I keep hearing, is that Katie did never want that footage out because she struck Sebastian. I really hope that's not true. But I've heard it a lot, and I've heard it especially recently now that this is out, that people are saying, you know, did you know about this? Did you know about this? And I'm like, I heard that, but you know, I'm like you guys in the chat. You guys are really smart, free thinkers, right? You try to consider everything, and I do too. And so, you know, until I see it or until I have some kind of proof, I'm very hesitant to believe it because of everything that's kind of come out in the case too, and because people do try to insert themselves into it, you know. New investigation, yes, I agree. Rob Bainey says yes, square one, new investigation, new investigators, right? Yeah, I think that would help, you know. Oh, that's what Dog says in the video. Yeah. 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 It's just so sad. It's just so sad to think that Sebastian had to go through this stuff, you know, because he is a good boy and you could see him being a good boy in the Texas Roadhouse. So if he just got whacked, you know, right before that, poor little dude. I mean, I just can't. I can't imagine. Okay. I saw that the Texas Roadhouse info and interviews. Yeah, and I'm just still waiting for it to come out. As soon as it does come out, we'll watch it, guys. Tomorrow I will be on in the afternoon again. Just kind of, I think that schedule's been working pretty good. If I go on kind of like even, you know, between like 11:30 and 1 o'clock, it's been a pretty good, I think, crowd in here. So I'm hoping to keep doing that. I have a couple videos that I was working on, but I didn't get them finished up for tonight. So, but it's okay because I really did want to go over this and then finish up some of these comparisons. You know, thank you, Bubby. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate the debating in the chat. I think it's so healthy for us to do that, guys. And I know a lot of times people are like, well, you know, people get, you know, heated, but that's all right. I mean, it's okay to be passionate about how we feel or what we think, or what we believe. It is, because otherwise, you got to kind of stand on your values and things. And I appreciate you guys doing that and being respectful, because it is possible to do that. I mean, you should hear Lil Red and I. You should just be a fly on the wall for us two, because we'll be going back and forth and we don't always agree. but I love her because she's so funny, because she doesn't get offended by things I say. I don't get offended by things she says. We tease the hell out of each other. And it just is what it is. We can disagree and be friends, guys. There's so many things that we agree on. I betcha. Like, we could probably sit here and be like, all right, favorite band. And, half of us would have the same favorite band, or, little things like that. So, but I appreciate everybody being passionate about Sebastian, because he's got to be, I mean, guys, I don't have to tell you guys, because you're here every night. I know. We got to find him. We got to spread awareness. We can't let him fall through the cracks. I think that he was failed by everybody. I just do. I think that he deserves so much better than this. He deserves so much better than what we're doing. So yeah, because I do remember too that Jay had that one guy on, but I still don't even know if that's a former employee of, Terry Bowersox or not. But he seemed pretty convincing. That's right, Bubby. We're all human. Yeah, and that's what brings us all together too, because we can all, we've all had that feeling before, it's familiar. I agree. I just love you guys. You guys are amazing. But yes, I will see you all tomorrow. I'm trying to get the Dude Wipes video together. Just kind of something fun to lighten the mood, because, I agree with Lisa P. We got to keep the mood light, because oh gosh, some of this stuff is so terrible. And then little Renesmee too. May she rest in peace. Baby Emmanuel, just all these babies, guys, and these little ones. We just got to do something better about all this. So he didn't release it just yet. I tried to find out if there was an update. I'm guessing it's going to be on X, Robini. I'm almost positive. That's true, Bubby. That's true. That is how we put the puzzle together. It is. And it's not our fault that people come out and say all this crazy stuff. we're like, what in the world, Renesmee and her brother. Yeah. Yeah. Elisa, I mean, and she's just like such a little cutie pie. Everything bad that happened to her was just, and another thing, I just hope that mamas will look at that and just say, you know what, I gotta pull myself up for these children and not give them to somebody, because look, no one's gonna love your kids like you do, and we keep seeing that over and over and over again. Yeah, Elisa, I haven't done as much research as I should have done, but I know Justin's been covering it too. And I'm gonna go watch Justin too, his live. I can't wait to see it. Excuse me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it is sickening. It is so sick. But I think we do need more programs and things like that where moms can feel empowered and to help them through it, right? Instead of like giving their babies to somebody, because it's like you think that you're doing something that's best for the kids, which sometimes it is. Don't get me wrong. There's fantastic people out there. A lot of you guys are in the chat and stuff like that, that have told me, hey, I've fostered kids, or, I've had, adopted kids and things like that. So it's not always bad. It's just so scary, to think that you would trust somebody and then they would break that, especially with a little child. And those kids were malnourished. They all looked malnourished to me. I mean, the minute that we saw Renesmee, Smiley shared out her poster and we were looking at it here, and everyone, including myself in the chat, we were like, oh my gosh, she's so thin. Oh my gosh, how old is she? She's 9. She's only 45 pounds. I mean, I had moms in the chat saying, my kid is this age and this, you know, I think somebody said like, my kid's 7 and they weigh 45 pounds or something like that, right? So just really small for their age. And yeah, those two, well, there you go. Elisa P. well said. Those 2 demons starved Renesmee's brother so long that he cannot eat or it will kill him. Yeah, guys, and I took 3 different news clips like of the update when they found her, and YouTube, like, I can't get advertisements for, like, it did halfway. So like some people will still sponsor the videos, but it was so brutal what happened to this little baby. I mean, I know she's 9, but I mean she looks so tiny, guys. And I did a video if you want to go over and look. But even then, that was just the initial, without even having anything, just the way that the condition that her body was found. She had cigarette burns all over her, you guys. She was extremely malnourished. And I'm sure there's way worse stuff, you know. He's got to have a feeding tube, Elisa. Jesus. Went into cardiac arrest. Oh my God, you guys. And see, that's what happens when you don't get nourishment. It hurts everything, right? Like even your heart, everything. Yeah, right. My kids were almost 11 pounds at birth. Yes. Well, Olivia was tiny, but I mean, like, you know, but just petite little girl, and both her dad and I are like tall people and stuff. So, um, just terrible, terrible, terrible. But yeah, we'll definitely be doing an update, and then I wanted to show you guys this too really quick before I go. Okay, yes, it was in my posts. Hold on a second. So sweet of Justin, right? Justin. Oh, and this is another one, guys. I'll just share my screen here. Okay. So we have this little chickadee, and she is responsible for her son, her infant son, right? The reason the baby doesn't have a name is because she was a cheerleader. She had the baby. It's still unclear everything that happened. In my opinion, she tried to hide the baby, right? 82725 400th block of Park Avenue, Lexington, Kentucky. They're saying, you know, we understand the sensitivity surrounding the state of surrounding the death of a child. This death affects many lives in our neighboring state of Tennessee, because that's actually where she's from. The Snelling lady. I say that lightly. The death affects many lives in the neighboring state of Tennessee, as well as those in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We are currently conducting a thorough and methodical death investigation to ensure all facts are carefully considered. This death investigation remains open pending the results of these studies. There is no additional information that can be released at this time, and there will be updates as our death investigation continues. Please keep the family and friends, as well as the University of Kentucky friends in your thoughts and prayers. Gary W. Ginn, Fayetteville County Coroner. Right? This is a mom. And clearly, guys, she's clearly with child. I mean, you know, just saying. But anyway, I said rest in peace, sweet little boy. Praying you get the justice that you deserve, and I hope that they do. Oh, and thank you, Leanne, for commenting. I'll be sure to get back. But I also wanted to bring in Renesmee too, and the sweet thing that was done. This is another child missing, guys. To 9 hours from Smiley. Isaiah Marley Kramer, 20 years old, last seen February 4th, 2024. Wow, that's a while back. Vernon near Maple Center. Call if you see this young man, right? Waukesha County Sheriff's 262-548-7122. And then I'll show you. It's just crazy, all of the kids that are going. Okay, so this is, yeah. As a community on this channel, we are more than viewers and creators. We are people who come together when a child's voice has been silenced far too soon. And this is something that Justin did at Clutch Them Pearls, the sweetheart he is. Certificate of a tree planting. A tree has been planted in honor of Renesmee and Yutzi, 2016 to 2025, with deepest sympathy. Clutch Them Pearls YouTube channel, and that was done on and dedicated September 8th, 2025. Really, really sweet of Justin. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. And then one more thing before we go. There is a new merch line opened up on Seth's channel that has all of the different shirts, windbreaker, hoodie, a water bottle, a flag, and a tote bag or travel bag. And these are all new on Sebastian's dad, Seth Rogers' site. You know, and I just want to say, you know, while Seth is planning this out, Chris is acting a fool. Par for the course, in my opinion. Good night, Bubby. And thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much, you guys. But yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and share that out with you guys. And, you know, I appreciate you guys being here. And we'll get back into it tomorrow. So please stay safe. Please say prayers that this god-awful case is solved and we can get justice for Sebastian. Any way we crack it, you know, he's going to need justice. You know, he's been gone so long. So, all right, guys, I love you all. Thank you. Take care. And I will see you tomorrow.